8:45 हुआ है और 10 मिनट इंतज़ार करते हैं। Oh, all of you requested, please mute your mic. अपने अपने माइक म्यूट कर दीजिए ताकि डिस्टरबेंस ना हो.
नमस्ते सर. ये तो मेरा लेक्चर है. नमस्ते सर.
हाँ नमस्ते.
गुड मॉर्निंग सर.
गुड मॉर्निंग.
गुड मॉर्निंग.
गुड मॉर्निंग सर.
आवाज येतो का आवाज?
हाँ आ रहा है सर, आ रहा है.
अरे
2-3 मिनट और वेट करते हैं, फिर स्टार्ट कर देंगे.
हाँ.
मैडम स्टार्ट करूँ क्या?
हाँ हाँ.
ओके.
हाँ सर नमस्कार.
हाँ
सर नमस्कार.
नमस्ते.
ओके, तो फिर स्टार्ट करते हैं. Good morning to one and all. On behalf of Shantarambhau Gholap Arts, Science and Gotirambhau Pawar Commerce College, Shivle, with the blessing of Ma Saraswati, I would take this opportunity to extend a very warm welcome on the onset of one-day multidisciplinary international e-conference on transforming, redefining, and innovation for the excellence of higher education. I welcome to JSM respected Chairman Shri Gotirambhau Pawar, Sir, JSM Secretary Shri B.R. Harat Sir, today's chief guest Shri Siddharth Rajan Sir, College Principal Dr. S.M. Patil Sir, Vice Principal Dr. G.R. Vishy Madam, and all the participant professors, and most importantly, all our dear students who are visually presented over here. From the last 2 years, we have become well versed of online programs, taking advantages of this opportunity. Like I say, better late than never. We have organized international conference as there is no hurdles and the question how to reach the venue which is so far or when I will be traveling as it is most consuming job. Now this all questions has been eliminated. Really, online has came as blessing in disguise.
अरे
Many
यार
have
वो
just
है
grabbed this situation and make a better use of this in a better way. As the saying goes, like every beginning is an opportunity to create history, and today will be considered as a history in the records of not only for Commerce Department but also in the record of whole college. I am very much assured that this day will be remembered for the longer period. As a common say, action speaks louder than words. Not taking much time, I just want to call my colleague, Mr. Aniket Marathi, to share about the conference to our guest. Over to you, Aniket, sir.
Uh, Thank you, ma'am. Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Uh, Good morning to one and all, respected Chairman of Janaseva Shikshan Mandal, Shri Gotirambhau Pawar sir, JSM Secretary Shri Bihar Harad sir, College Principal Dr. SM Patil sir, Vice Principal Dr. Jia Vishe Madam, and all the participant professor and students visually present over here. It's my privilege to be part of this event and share about the conference. As we all have witnessed from the last 2 years, the unprecedented attack of COVID-19, which has taken a complete U-turn in the lives of almost all the people of the world. No one on this world has remained unaffected from this pandemic. But this situation actually gives us a new opportunities to bar all limits, and now anyone from anywhere can usually present to any of the program. As in online era, the only thing is required is the net connection and a smartphone. Now has changed and now it has transformed from classroom teaching to online teaching. With the help of multimedia, the traditional education has redefined to the modern education. With the help of innovation, it has set a new dimension of education. So is the theme of our multidisciplinary international conference, transforming, redefining, and innovations for the excellence of higher education has been justified to the current situation. This conference has given the opportunities to share new ideas. The conference is attempted to promote research in the field of higher education. The theme of conference is kept multidisciplinary so that anyone can participate from any field. The objective of the conference is to enhance knowledge by sharing insight from excellent resource person invited for the conference. Overall, the conference has 4 sessions and each session has excellent speaker. We have invited 2 international speakers from New York and Saudi Arabia and one from West Bengal and also from Nanded, Maharashtra. Overall, we have received overwhelming response from all parts of the nation. We are very much thankful and appreciate the participation of every individual who are making this event successful and request them to support till the end. Thanking you. Over to you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to call Vice Principal Dr. Jia Vishe Madam to please share the college to our honorable guest as he is far away from us and not knowing much about this area. Over to you, madam.
नमस्ते, मैं गीता विषय अंतर्राष्ट्रीय संगोष्ठी के अध्यक्ष आदरणीय पवार साहब, जनसेवा शिक्षा मंडल अध्यक्ष, संस्था के सहसचिव BR हरड़ सर जी, आज के प्रमुख अतिथि, प्रमुख वक्ता श्री सिद्धार्थ राजहंस जी, डॉक्टर पियाली घोष, डॉक्टर सामी खान, डॉक्टर माधुरी देशपांडे, महाविद्यालय के प्रधानाचार्य डॉक्टर SM पाटिल सर, सलाहकार समिति के सभी सदस्य और प्रधानाचार्य डॉक्टर वाघ सर जी, डॉक्टर अविनाश पाटिल सर जी, डॉक्टर अनिल सिंह जी, डॉक्टर पठारे सर जी, ये सेमिनार के समन्वयक प्रोफेसर वंदना सिंह, IQAC कोऑर्डिनेटर मराठे सर और उनकी पूरी टीम को मैं धन्यवाद देती हूँ। उच्च शिक्षा क्षेत्र में होने वाले परिवर्तन तदनुरूप पुनर्शोधन इस विषय पर अंतर्राष्ट्रीय वेबिनार का आयोजन किया है। हमारी कॉलेज की स्थापना 1989 में हुई। शुरुआत से 75 छात्र थे, अभी लगभग 2000 के ऊपर छात्र हैं। 1989 से आज तक संस्था के अथक प्रयासों से कला विज्ञान वाणिज्य कंप्यूटर IT BMS BAP MSc केमिस्ट्री MSc IT MSc कंप्यूटर MA हिंदी हिस्ट्री इकोनॉमिक्स इंग्लिश मराठी जैसे कोर्स शुरू किए गए हैं। गर्व की बात यह है कि इस महाविद्यालय से हर साल 700-800 छात्र डिग्री प्राप्त करते हैं। हमारे कॉलेज के 3 NAAC मूल्यांकन हुए हैं। अभी 4th साइकिल का काम शुरू है। हमारे छात्र हमारा लक्ष्य है। उनके व्यक्तिमत्व विकास के लिए महाविद्यालय करीब से 15 समिति ये छात्रों के लिए काम करते हैं, उनके व्यक्तित्व विकास के लिए। ये साल में मुंबई विश्वविद्यालय के युवा महोत्सव में हमारा छात्र संकेत कराले ने शास्त्रीय वादन में पहला नंबर प्राप्त किया है। अभी मुंबई विश्वविद्यालय के उड़ान फेस्टिवल में 4 पारितोषिक हमारे छात्र ने प्राप्त किए हैं। ये सभी उपक्रम के लिए हमारी संस्था का बहुत बड़ा आशीर्वाद है। मैं पुनः सभी अतिथि सहभागी विद्वज्जन का मैं तहे दिल से हार्दिक स्वागत करती हूँ। इस सेमिनार सार्थक के लिए बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं देती हूँ और मेरा मनोगत को मैं विराम देती हूँ। थैंक यू।
Thank you, madam. Now, I would like to call upon Dr. S.M. Patil sir to please give us his best wishes for our program. Over to you,
Thank
sir.
you, madam. Are you audible, madam?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good morning to all. Shantarambhau Gholap Arts, Science and GP Pawar Commerce College, Shivle. One day, Multidisciplinary International E-Conference in our today's president, Jason GP Pawar Sahab, Joint Secretary, Principal BR Sir, today's Chief Guest, Mr. Siddharth Rajams, New York, today's resource person, Dr. Priyansha Ghosh, University of Calcutta, Dr. Swami Khan, Professor, Saudi Arabia, Dr. Madhuri Deshpande, Director, Nanded University, and College Vice Principal, Dr. J.R. Mishra. Today's organizer, Vandana Singh, Madam, Power SS, Advisor Committee, all Advisor Committee members, and Bhagat, Madam, and all participants. We are proud to be the symbol of my quality of education since established in Jain Seva Shikshan Mandal in 1988. Our college has long tradition on imparting quality education to noble tasks for the more than 30 years. All-round development of the students is our motto. Besides academic quality, we also observe cultural, social, and social development of our students. We have this library with a hunk number of books, special care of the students. Preparing the competitive exams is taken with the special attention. Our sports and culture departments are very active and achieve success every year. Traditional as well as professional courses are available according to the choice of the students. Our results are also very good. We have the experience and qualified facility in our college. We have to put up a lot of efforts, make the golden students for his better future. We have equipment library, gymkhana, administration office. The management, teachers, and administration are very cooperative. The college, madam told me my college is first NAC is 2005 and 6. Second NAC is completed 2011-12. Third cycle I completed in 1920. And fourth cycle NAC is I hope to complete the 24. My best college award in University of Mumbai in 2014-15. My college was established in 1918, but the ISO certificate in 2015. Today we have the fully equipped library, laboratory, gymkhana, playground, administration sections, and started the all postgraduate sections in the MSc Chemistry, IT, Computer Science, and so many activities in conduct in our college. My management is the best management in our Thana districts. Every time my management in the organize the workshop, seminar, and other activities conduct. Hello. 52 activities the conduct in our college. My college is best college award in University of Mumbai. The big today's the workshop, today's the conference is the best of the big changes from the offline education to the online education was difficult for the students as well as the for teachers. Educations that means so many changes in the new education policies. अलीकडच्या काळामध्ये फक्त चार भिंतीच्या आत शिक्षण घेणं राहिलेलं नाही तर लॉट ऑफ चेंजेस इन द न्यू इकॉनॉमिक पॉलिसी. I hope this changes in the few of this in futures. मी एवढंच म्हणेन की आज या ठिकाणी आपण सर्वजण आलात संस्थेच्या वतीनं आणि आपल्या महाविद्यालयाच्या वतीनं आपल्या सर्वांचं या ठिकाणी मी या ठिकाणी स्वागत करतो आणि या कॉन्फरन्ससाठी बेस्ट विशेष देऊन मी या ठिकाणी माझी शुभेच्छा देतो. जय हिंद, जय महाराष्ट्र.
Thank you, sir. Welcome, Siddharth, sir. As you know that our college is in rural area, so Marathi is the language, so it might be difficult to you to understand. He was giving us best wishes, and now I will request our JSM, which is our institution. So I would like to call JSM Secretary B.R. Harat sir to please give us best wishes. Harat sir is there? Vishi madam, Harat sir is there? I think Harat sir is not there in the meeting. So now I would like to call JSM Chairman Shri Gotirambhau Pawar Sarji to please give us best wishes to start our conference.
जनसेवा. हॅलो.
हॅलो. हा जी सर.
आवाज येतोय ना?
Ah, yes.
जनसेवा शिक्षा संस्था मुरबाड संचलित शांतारामभाऊ घोलप कला विज्ञान व गोटरामभाऊ पवार वाणिज्य महाविद्यालय की वाणिज्य शाखा द्वारा उच्च शिक्षा क्षेत्र में होने वाले परिवर्तन, तदनुरूप पुनर्शोधन एवं नवनिर्माण की संभावनाएं विषय पर आयोजित एक दिवसीय अंतरशाखीय अंतरराष्ट्रीय आभासी संगोष्ठी में उपस्थित प्रमुख अतिथि व वक्ता श्री सिद्धार्थ राजहाउस, डॉक्टर पियाली घोष, डॉक्टर स्वामी खान, डॉक्टर माधुरी देशपांडे, संस्था के सहसचिव B.R. हरट, महाविद्यालय के प्राचार्य डॉक्टर S.M. पाटिल, उपप्राचार्य डॉक्टर G.R. विसे, संगोष्ठी के समन्वयक प्रोफेसर वंदना सिंह, उनकी सहभागी टीम, सभी प्रतिभागी अभ्यासक, आप सबका मैं हृदय से स्वागत करता हूँ. मैं प्रोफेसर वंदना सिंह को विशेष धन्यवाद देता हूँ कि उन्होंने नितांत नए और रचनात्मक विषय को चुनकर अपनी सूझबूझ का परिचय दिया है. मुझे विश्वास है कि संगोष्ठी में होने वाले मंथन से प्रतिभागी लाभान्वित होंगे तथा अपने कार्य क्षेत्र में नई कल्पनाओं को इजाद कर शिक्षा को प्रभावी बनाएंगे. हमारी जनसेवा शिक्षण संस्था किसान और प्राथमिक टीचर के अथक परिश्रम से 1978 में वो प्रस्तावित हुई। रबार्ट तहसील का हर युवती उच्च शिक्षित हो ये हमारा निर्देश था। परंतु बदलती स्थितियों में रोजगार के लिए केवल पारंपरिक पद्धति पर्याप्त नहीं है, तो किसी अन्य का भी अर्जित करना अनिवार्य है। इसको दृष्टि में रखते हुए हमने हमारे पदवी व पदव्युत्तर महाविद्यालय में स्किल बेस्ड कोर्सेज भी शुरू किए हैं। महाविद्यालय हमेशा अलग अलग प्रकार की संगोष्ठियाँ, करियर डेवलपमेंट प्रोग्राम, स्पर्धा परीक्षा मार्गदर्शन कार्यक्रम, महाविद्यालय स्तर पर स्पर्धा परीक्षा आयोजन करता रहता है, जिससे छात्र को रोजगार के अवसर प्राप्त हो। किसी भी शहराती छात्र में हमारा छात्र पीछे न रहे। सूचना प्रौद्योगिकी के प्रभाव स्वरूप आज संपूर्ण विश्व एक गांव में तब्दील हो गया है। हमारा छात्र भी पूरे विश्व से जुड़े, इसलिए आईटी और कंप्यूटर जैसे विषय को शुरू करने में हमने पहले की है। सभी छात्रों को कैंपस वाईफाई की सुविधा देकर हमने उनके ज्ञानार्जन को स्रोत को विस्तृत करने का प्रयास किया है। आज की इस आभासी संगोष्ठी में कई स्तरीय शोध निबंध पढ़े जाएंगे, जिनमें से नए विषय सामने आएंगे। प्रतिभागी उससे प्रेरणा ग्रहण कर किसी नई पद्धति पर अमल करते हैं तो संगोष्ठी सार्थक होगी। संगोष्ठी के सार्थकता के लिए मैं अपने और से तथा संस्था की ओर से शुभकामना व्यक्त करता हूँ और अपने 2 शब्दों को विराम देता हूँ। जय हिंद, जय महाराष्ट्र।
Thank you, sir. As the saying goes that behind every successful film, there is a strong director. So for our institution, he believes in the principle where there is a way, there is a will, there is a way. We have our president who is continuously doing work for the betterment of each and every individual, which is directly or indirectly involved with the college. He is continuously behind us and give motivation. Your words are always motivating us in a stronger way. Thank you once again. I would now, I think Harat sir is not in the meeting. So I would now continue in the next phase. Now the waiting period is over and I'm sure everyone is waiting for the turn of today's guest, as I have very exciting profile of guest of honor and I'm really serious in serious dilemma from where to start because it is a very rich profile of Mr. Siddharth Rajans, now who is currently designated as Principal Policy Officer, United Nations, New York, a Harvard-educated first-generation technology entrepreneur, a Silicon Valley technocrat and product expert, management researcher, TEDx and motivational speaker, and pioneer of the alternate technology in India and the Asia-Pacific region. He is one of India's most prolific and highly sought-after keynote speaker in tech management genres. 6-time TEDx speaker with a TED speech listed on the official TED website. He has previously worked as a project manager for Apple in Singapore and spearheaded Apple Everyone Can Code project, which paved him way for his keynote as the first Indian at the Worldwide Developer Conference. In 2016, he is an Apple WWDC veteran and has been a popular figure. He also heads up a startup called Specify as a co-founder and CEO, which has been working to provide satellite power internet or AutoNet in Singapore and parts of rural India as a part of Digital India initiative. This was the same project in which he received the patronage of the former President of India, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, and received a tie-up with the Telecom Minister of India, Mr. Manoj Sinha, in October 16. Specify is the first spectrum sharing telecom startup in a domain previously dominated by telecom giants. In addition, he is an award winning innovator, having been awarded at many IIMs, IITs, NITs, and universities across India. He has spoken at over 231 conferences as a keynote speaker over the last many years, since 2014, and has addressed some of the major platforms in the international speaking circuit, including TEDx IE Annual Congress, opening keynote of 2016 and 2019. He has lived and worked in over 4 countries. He is on the board of several universities, including DAVV Indore, Symbiosis Indore, RGPV Bhopal, and de facto advisor to several others, including the likes of IIT Kharagpur, NIT Kurukshetra, IIM Ahmedabad, NIMS Mumbai, and Bangalore for bridging the industry academic grad. Sorry, sir, I will be discontinuing here as a time constraint. The people are more eager to listen to you rather than me. Please forgive me if I have missed something which is important. I beg your pardon. Over to you, sir. Please take the charge.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Vandana ma'am, for that warm introduction, for Shantarambhau Gotirambhau Pawar sir for your introduction. Thank you so much.
Sir, your voice is coming very low.
Voice is breaking actually.
Yeah.
Is it better now? Is it okay now?
Very low it is coming actually. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, let me just.
Yeah.
Is it okay now?
Still, it can be better than you.
Better than.
I think you.
You can
Yeah. Like this.
Okay, I'm disconnecting the microphone.
Okay. Yeah. 1 second, sir. Before starting, can you spare me a minute?
Sure.
I will ask Harsh sir to please give us best wishes. He's on the air. Harsh sir, please. Your mic is mute, sir.
सर माईक
Mic is mute.
सर माईक ओपन करा.
All right. Is my voice audible?
Sir. Sir, just give me 2 minutes. I will.
Absolutely, ma'am.
Yeah. Harsh sir, your mic is mute. You can just unmute yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, now it's okay.
Madam, can I speak after Pawar Sahab has spoken earlier? Okay. अरे म्यूट झालंय.
सिंग मैम आपका माइक म्यूट है.
Hello.
Sir, I will take the permission from chairperson and ask you to please speak for us. Is it okay?
Yes.
Chairperson Shri Gotirambhau Pawar is our chairperson. So I beg his pardon. Please, can he allow Harsh sir to speak? Because I was not at the time of that. I think sir has left. So you can start, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Vandana ma'am. I hope my voice.
Sir, Siddharth sir, only for 1 minute.
Sure.
Yeah. Harsh sir, can you please?
Okay, madam.
Yeah.
Respected dignitaries participated in the conference. Chief guest and the keynote speaker, Mr. Siddharth Rajhans, President of our Janaseva Shikshan Mandal, Mr. G.P. Pawar Sahib, Principal of our college, Dr. S.M. Patil, Vice Principal, Dr. Geeta Vise, Coordinator of the conference, Professor Vandana Singh and their colleagues. Sir, this conference has been arranged by our college, and the main theme of this conference is the new education policy and enable the students towards fruitful and concrete education. Nowadays, higher education given to students in our country and educational institutions is somewhat of traditional nature, or we can say it is traditional type. Now the students are getting degrees but may not be enabled to students to get job opportunities. So in my opinion, when we talk about the new education policy, that should be application oriented. There should be more and more focus on skill development, personality improvement, and the communication skill. So we hope that our government is implementing the new education policy in coming years and definitely think all aspects required in education for the coming generation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Siddharth, sir, now you can join. You can take the charge.
Sure. So thank you so much, Vandana ma'am. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Shankar Patil ji, Gotirambhau Pawar sir. I hope my voice is now loud enough for everyone. Okay.
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Perfect. So thank you so much, everyone, for that warm introduction. Today's keynote, as you know, it is more of a faculty induction program. So my medium of instruction would be mostly English, but I'll also be citing a few, local terminologies in Hindi. So I don't think there will be a language barrier. We'll all be able to understand that well. What is the essence of this keynote? When Vandana ma'am contacted me, I guess Vandana ma'am had earlier heard me at Jamia Millia Islamia during a keynote earlier in the month of January this year during the annual UGC HRDC faculty induction program there. So that was how this discussion started, and I'm glad that I'm able to address your college and people around Maharashtra via this forum today. So one of the essential agendas of this keynote is to enable you with certain upcoming technologies, because I have worked in the tech domain for a very long time. Plus, I have been trying to bridge this industry academia gap that we often speak about. So the essence of today's talk is to equip you with certain technologies. And in my personal opinion, I've worked around data analytics, big data, जिसे हम कहते हैं. So ये technologies जो हैं, I try to throw some light on that. How you can bring the power of these technologies, essentially data analytics, big data, then data के through हम कैसे पैसे भी बना सकते हैं, data monetization. ये सारे concepts how we can implement that in the educational interface. How we can bring that to our educational experience that we as academicians impart to students, and in addition to that, how we can try and bring cutting edge technologies, because innovation in the academic space, in the educational ecosystem, is very much needed. And what happens is that is something that only the industry practices, and then often what happens is academicians remain very textbook centric or literature centric, and the industry is more practice centric. So I'll try to bridge that gap by citing a few of my personal experiences in the industry around these domains, and how we could bring about such a revolution in the educational experience, because that is my personal emphasis for today, how we could improve your experience as an academician. So आप इधर से क्या लेके जाएंगे that you can impart to your students back in your college, and irrespective of the domain you are from. So I've had FDPs and UGC HRDC talks like this one in the past, where there have been faculty members who are botany professors, who are English literature, Sanskrit professors also. So it is not something that is core management or technology related or engineering related. This is something that all of you can apply irrespective of the domains you're from. All right, so I'll just be starting my presentation. Give me a second for that. Okay, so all right, so my presentation is here. I hope I am visible, and I'll be now playing my presentation over. So that is the purpose of this conference. I'll be trying to address the overall agenda that Vandana ma'am shared with me, that was transforming, redefining, and innovations for excellence in higher education. So I believe my particular work in the domain of innovation-centric entrepreneurship is very much relevant to what we call as transforming, redefining, and innovating the educational experience. So that will be the essence of today's keynote. I'll also be talking about my personal journey through the tech industry and how we could redefine academic leadership in the new normal. Because एक चीज मैं हमेशा कहता हूँ that जब से कोविड आया है, right, लोग हमेशा हम ये तो मानते ही हैं कि there has been a lot of devastation and all of that around COVID. But एक चीज हमें माननी पड़ेगी, वो ये है that COVID has changed the way we work, changed the way our students study, change the way the world does things these days. इसे हम new normal कहते हैं. And that is where I feel COVID is an opportunity. So we should first take this step that COVID is no longer, the disease and the larger picture. Let us forget that. It is an opportunity. Why it is an opportunity, I'll be elaborating in my upcoming slides, because there are some very good conferences that as students, as academicians, as anyone at any point of time in our life we can attend. Previously, these conferences like Google ka I/O, Apple ka WWDC, Facebook ka F8, then Microsoft ka Build, these conferences were only available to people who would pay $1,500 or $2,000, which was the annual ticket fee for these conferences, and who are able to travel to California to be able to attend that conference. But today, these conferences are available to everyone, irrespective of where you are from, because it is of COVID. Things have become free and things have become virtual. So because everyone is blaming it on COVID, these conferences have become free. And so इस तरह की बहुत सारी चीजें हैं जो हम कर सकते हैं. So we should look upon COVID as an opportunity. That is an essential part of my keynote today. And to begin with, why I talk so much around innovation and entrepreneurship is because I believe ये एक ऐसा domain है that has the potential to change how our future generation of students, how your students, those who you have been teaching over the years, and especially at SGAS, GPCC, how students there and anywhere else, wherever you are from, how they can approach education and how they can approach entrepreneurship. So मेरा ऐसा मानना है that innovation is दौर में there are two types of entrepreneurs. एक है true entrepreneurs versus the generation of Instagram entrepreneurs. तो देखिए जो real change makers हैं, जो real entrepreneurs हैं, आज की तारीख में you might have seen there are a lot of people on Instagram who have become influencers. But I personally believe that to make real change happen, you have to be on the ground. You have to be a problem solver. So for us to create a generation of entrepreneurs, it is very important for us to develop this spirit of problem solving. So first thing is we need to identify problem statements, and using our skills, whether management, engineering, arts, or whatever domain, we should be able to design a solution around it. So we need to design a solution towards problem statements. That is the spirit of entrepreneurship. And हो ये रहा है that आज की तारीख में Instagram में इतने सारे content creators आ गए that हमारे जो युवा वर्ग है वो भूल गया है that what is true innovation. So आप देखिए आज की तारीख में there is a joke that whenever we need to understand what is something great that is happening in our country, we look forward to Akshay Kumar movie, because that has become the state of affairs in our country. And in fact आप वही आदमी को देखिए, the Padman of India. So he's a good friend of mine, Arunachalam Muruganathan, but nobody knew his journey before that movie came around, starring Akshay Kumar. So we need to identify real change makers. Real change is not going to happen by creating content on Instagram. So it is very essential for our generation to identify that. Now, one of the essential things I often speak about is ये दो तीन Venn diagrams that I wanted to share with you. So these are things that leading people around the world are sharing these days. So how do we help the younger generation and the academic cohort right now to be able to identify what is their actual aim or purpose in life? So what you are deeply passionate about, what drives your actions and decisions, and what you can be best in the world at. So ये तीनों के बीच में लाई करता है, इसे भाग नहीं कहते हैं, इसे बी हैक कहते हैं, big hairy audacious goal. So what it means is we have to be able to identify what we are good at the same time identify a larger purpose, a mission or a higher calling in life, and a problem statement that we can solve for. Similarly, there is this concept called ikigai. हो सकता है आप में से कुछ लोगों ने इसे ऑनलाइन देखा हो, या there is a very good book by the same name, Ikigai. I really recommend all of you to read that. So Ikigai ये Japanese concept है. What they say is identify what you love, what you are good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. So इनके बीच में आप देखेंगे लाई करते हैं different domains. For instance, what you love and what you are good at के बीच में देखिए there lies passion. Similarly, what you love and what the world needs उसके बीच में mission. What the world needs and what you can be paid for इसके बीच में vocation है. And similarly, what you are good at and what you can be paid for इसके बीच में profession है, which generally pays us. But होता ये है कि इनके बीच के भी कुछ areas है, जैसे passion और profession के बीच में if you see there is satisfaction but a sense of uselessness. Similarly, passion and mission के बीच में delight and fullness तो रहता है, but wealth नहीं रहता. So we need to balance all these things. That is why in whenever we are guiding our students towards something to do with entrepreneurship, उद्यमिता जिसे कहते हैं हिंदी में, we need to focus on three pillars. And these three pillars are scalability. It should be scalable. financial viability, it should make money, and practical feasibility. It should be practically feasible. So we need to focus on these three things: practical feasibility, financial viability, and scalability. Bina uske we won't be able to create this change that we speak of. Similarly, innovation जो है उसके three पहलू होते हैं, like I said. तो एक है desirability, which is the practical feasibility part of it, like I mentioned. एक है business, which is the viability, the financial viability, and technically it should be feasible. So this is how the process of innovation happens. इसे ही हम higher terminology में design centric या design thinking या design innovation कहते हैं. So design thinking is one concept that I want all of you to study, irrespective of whatever academic domain you might cater to, because design thinking has the potential to change how we approach problem statements in our life. And this is how real entrepreneurship and real academic experience will change in the country with reference to innovation, when we look at problem statements and design solutions around it. So इसको हम कहते हैं platform approach, और startup की भाषा में इसी को ही PaaS कहते हैं. So आपने सुना होगा software as a service, SaaS, SaaS, then platform as a service, PaaS, and infrastructure as a service. So this particular topic that I am going to talk about is platform as a service. How do we create a platform as a startup to connect the end user to the product or service? And आज की तारीख में आपको कुछ स्टार्टअप करने के लिए बहुत बड़ा हमें खोद कर निकालने की जरूरत नहीं है. आज की तारीख में स्टार्टअप माने आप अपने मोबाइल को खोल के देख लीजिए, आपके मोबाइल का हर एक ऐप जो है, आप व्हाट्सएप तो सब रोज यूज करते होंगे, है ना? तो व्हाट्सएप इटसेल्फ इज $1 billion स्टार्टअप. तो इस तरह के आपके मोबाइल में हर ऐप जो है इज इक्वल टू अ कंपनी, एंड ऐप इज इक्वल टू अ कंपनी. ये पूरे ऐप इकोनॉमी ने हमें वही तो सिखाया है. और आप इंटरनेट का ही जो प्रोसेस रहा है वो देखिए. 90s के दौर में आया इंट्रानेट, राइट, which was the first generation, जो हम आज भी यूज करते हैं 2 क्यूबिकल के बीच में बात करने के लिए, लोकल एरिया नेटवर्क जिसे कहते हैं, इंट्रानेट, INTRANET. Then came internet, which was what exactly happened in that phase, which is about interconnected network of deep sea cables across the world. We connected all computers. So इसी दौर में आप देखिए 90s के दशक में, when internet just started, people thought that now we have connected computers around the world. So what do we need? We need search engines. So जो first phase था 90s का, वो था सर्च इंजन फेज, जिसमें याहू, गूगल, ये सब सर्च इंजन आए. देन केम द 2000 to 2010 वाला डिकेड. तो उसमें क्या आया? अब हमने सर्च इंजन तो बना लिए, तो वी क्रिएटेड सोशल नेटवर्किंग वेबसाइट्स. तो वी क्रिएटेड फेसबुक, माईस्पेस, ऑरकुट, ऑल ऑफ दिस हैपेंड, ऑफ व्हिच फेसबुक बिकेम अ जायंट. देन केम द स्मार्टफोन रेवोल्यूशन. तो वो डिकेड हो गया 2010 तक. अब आप देखिए 2011 से 20 सबके पास स्मार्टफोन्स थे. तो वी क्रिएटेड एन ऐप इकोनॉमी. दैट इज वेयर एप्स लाइक इंस्टाग्राम, व्हाट्सएप, ऑल ऑफ दीज टुक प्रोमिनेंस. नाउ द नेक्स्ट 10 decades, as we are speaking, we are currently in 2022 all the way down to 2030, and this decade is about the metaverse. तो आप लोगों ने देखा होगा फेसबुक ने खुद ने अपने आप को रीब्रांड कर लिया है. नाउ थिंक ऑफ इट, अ कंपनी एज बिग एज फेसबुक एंड अ बिलियनियर एज बिग एज मार्क जकरबर्ग, ही इज टेकिंग सच अ बिग bet कि he is completely changing the name of his company to something called as Meta, and that is because he believes that the future of the internet is called metaverse, and that is exactly what integration of new technologies such as augmented reality, virtual reality, and building a parallel virtual domain for us to connect. That is what the metaverse is all about, and that is exactly where innovation is headed. So this is the time that we need to start, in India also start to develop this entire trend amongst our students, amongst our classrooms, that we can try and innovate something on this next 10 years that lie ahead of us. And that is where design thinking will be of very, very useful for us. So design thinking touches every aspect. It touches technology, manufacturing, business, organizational behavior, human values, design and interactivity. So I really want all of you to study design thinking. हो सकता है next time जब मैं आपसे बात करूँ, I'll try and focus on design thinking as a topic, because it has the potential to solve a lot of our challenges, and that is where I believe the future lies. Now, whenever we talk of a human-centered design, I always talk that user experience जो है, it should be our priority. This is what some of the greatest companies ने करके दिखाया है. हम WhatsApp को ही देख ले. Why has WhatsApp become a synonym of the industry called instant messaging? Because of the user experience. Jan Kuom, जो WhatsApp के founder, he was once upon a time when I was in Silicon Valley, I met him and he was a good friend. And उनका जो desktop हुआ करता था, जहाँ पे WhatsApp का headquarters था, before WhatsApp became the bigger thing after Facebook acquired it, he had a post-it notes. एक paper में note उन्होंने चिपका के रखा था, which said no bullshit, no advertisements, flawless coding. ये 3 शब्द उन्होंने लिख के रखे थे, and that is exactly what WhatsApp delivered. So that is where whenever we are trying to make something, a product or a service, we also need to take into consideration the user experience part of it, the flawlessness of it, rather than making a crappy design. Because कई बार मैंने DST Government of India के साथ भी I've judged a lot of panels where students make a product or a service, but there is absolutely no emphasis on the aesthetics of the product, the flawlessness of the service or the app that has been created. This is another aspect that we need to integrate on our human-centered design वाला concept. किसी का ऑडियो जो है वो चालू है, तो आई रियली रिक्वेस्ट देम टू म्यूट कर ले प्लीज. I'll continue. So देखिए, if you can please mute the audio. All right, so I'll continue. So a little bit about myself. As you know, I've been currently working with the UN as a policy officer based out of the New York HQ. This is the headquarters in New York on 42nd Street. इसके पहले I studied at Harvard Business School. मैं Harvard इसलिए जाना चाहता था because I wanted to excel in management particularly, but around the same time I also studied at Harvard's Kennedy School, which was the public policy and international governance institution, and this is what paved the way for my my job at the UN. Now essentially what I did at Harvard was completely on a scholarship. It was a result of years of academic focus and something that had to happen because I constantly kept giving exams and so on. And uske pehle I was employed with Apple. So Apple I was a product manager for what we call as Swift Playgrounds. I was employed with the Singapore headquarters, APAC HQ कहते हैं इसे Apple का, in Singapore, Asia Pacific headquarters. So I was employed there. I was pretty much based out of the US or California headquarters of Apple as well. Now, a major milestone of my career was my work with Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. This was between the years 2013 to 2015. A lot of you, after his demise in 2015, might have heard that a satellite was launched in his memory. That was news in the end of the year. That was a satellite that we worked on together. Now, why Dr. Kalam's intervention happened and his patronage happened, it was with reference to my startup. My startup is called Spacify. जो बोर्ड आप मेरे बैकग्राउंड में भी देख सकते हैं, ये दो शब्दों के मेल से बना है, स्पेस प्लस वाईफाई. सो हम एक टेक्नोलॉजी पे काम कर रहे हैं जिसे हम कहते हैं आउटरनेट. सो आउटरनेट क्या है भाइयों बहनों? तो देखिए 90s के दशक में इंट्रानेट आया, मैंने जैसे कहा, जो सबसे पहला वर्जन था लोकल एरिया नेटवर्क. उसके बाद आया इंटरनेट. तो इंटरनेट का शब्द को हम तोड़ें तो क्या बनता है? इंटर और नेट. इंटर कनेक्टेड क्या? नेटवर्क ऑफ व्हाट? डीप सी केबल्स. तो आपने कभी ये सोचा इंटरनेट काम कैसे करता है? तो इंटरनेट वर्क्स ऑन डीप सी केबल नेटवर्क. तो 60s and 70s के दशक में वी लिटरली लेड डाउन डीप सी केबल्स अक्रॉस द ग्लोब टू कनेक्ट what we call as our telecommunications process or array, and that is how this entire process of internet works. India maybe internet comes like that only. So so there is a company called Tata Internet Services Limited that actually receives a deep sea cable from under Arabian Sea, and thereafter it distributes it to further internet service providers in India. So that is how internet works. But that is where an essential question lies, that have we been able to bridge for the digital divide in our country by laying down wires and cables? Yani last mile connectivity जिसे हम कहते हैं, we can never achieve that by laying down wires and cables. So that is where a question arises, how do we bridge this digital divide or digital gap? And इसी divide या इसी gap के लिए we designed a solution. We call it Outernet. Outernet is another term for satellite-powered internet. So Outernet क्या है? It is like a new level of interconnectivity after intranet and internet. And what we have been doing for the past 7 to 10 years now is we have been working on this technology, implementing it. We are partners of Digital India. We have covered over 450 villages as part of this technology. I have also had commercial operations in Singapore. So a large part of what we do as part of Spacify has been around satellite internet. And that is where I believe that Outernet is the future. हम वायर ले डाउन करके हम लास्ट माइल कनेक्टिविटी अचीव नहीं कर सकते. In a country as vast as India, still 3/4 of the country is still not connected to the internet. So we have to, upgrade that technology. And this is where I believe that human-centric design, जिसके मैंने बारे में बात करी थी, that comes into play. Outernet is that technology. For the last few years, I have spoken around the world about the power of satellite internet and what we have accomplished in this. So मैंने जैसे कि बताया, Dr. Kalam का intervention was very useful in this. Why his intervention was useful is because आप सोच के देखिए, a small startup like ours, and we did not have funding. I come from a middle class family, so trying to start up something in this domain was very difficult. Why? Because India में major spectrum जो है, that was with companies such as Jio, such as Airtel, and all of them. And you can imagine, spectrum is a very big business in India. Is so big that the spectrum bidding, it happens in billions. So much that आपको याद होगा 2G स्पेक्ट्रम का तो घोटाला भी हो गया था. सो इतना ज्यादा पैसा लगता है इसमें, अब हम कहाँ से लेके आए? सो दैट वाज आवर इनिशियल चैलेंज, एंड वी वर कंप्लीटली रिलायंट ऑन इंडियाज प्राइमरी टेलीकम्युनिकेशन सैटेलाइट INSAT 4A and INSAT 3C, and you can imagine that was not enough for us to power our entire telecommunications process. So that is where Dr. Kalam's intervention came into play. Dr. Kalam, being the satellite scientist he helped us, and he opened our entire potential towards a new level of satellite technology. So satellite technology has undergone a lot of change. Now we have nanosats, cubesats, and microsats. So ऐसा ही एक nanosat जो कि 20 centimeter length, breadth and width का था, it was launched as part of what we call as Helios 1 या PSLV C-29 मिशन इसरो का. इसरो की, जैसा कि आप जानते हैं, इज वन ऑफ द मोस्ट जुगाड़ू स्पेस ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस आउट देयर. सो इसी तरह के एक लॉन्च में हमारा भी एक सैटेलाइट लॉन्च हुआ था, एंड दैट इज हाउ दिस एंटायर प्रोसेस केम इनटू एग्जिस्टेंस. नाउ देयर इज अनदर इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग दैट आई वांटेड टू शेयर विद ऑल ऑफ यू. इट इज अबाउट 15 ways of how you can change the game as an academician, because मैं समझता हूँ कि हम इनोवेशन की बातें और हमारा स्टार्टअप किस तरह से काम कर रहा है, ये सब इस 15 ways के स्लाइड्स के बाद मैं आपसे डिस्कस करूंगा, because that will give you a perspective on what I essentially want you people to implement as academicians into your own colleges, into your personal lives as academicians. So one of the first ways how you can 15 ways जो है to change the game as an academician. First तरीका है leveraging the power of research. Now a lot of you might be PhDs, postdoc, yourself, but let me tell you that research is an ongoing process. We cannot stop at a PhD and thereafter continue with our life. We need to essentially include research as a part of our everyday academic curriculum, and that is where I believe the case study approach is very useful. आप समझे, हार्वर्ड बिजनेस स्कूल जहाँ पे मैं पढ़ा हूँ, वो भी इट यूजेस अ पेडागॉजी, जिसे हम केस स्टडी अप्रोच कहते हैं. एंड इंडिया भर में आप सारे IIMs भी, हमारे IIM अहमदाबाद ने भी वही केस स्टडी पेडागॉजी को अडेप्ट किया जो हार्वर्ड बिजनेस स्कूल इंप्लीमेंट कर चुका था. सो ये केस स्टडी अप्रोच जो है, ये एक तरह से इंडस्ट्री का बेंचमार्क बन चुका है फॉर मैनेजमेंट एंड फॉर हायर एजुकेशन, आई वुड से, इन अ ब्रॉडर सेंस. सो इट इज वेरी एसेंशियल दैट हम इसे हमारे एवरीडे एकेडमिक करिकुलम में लेके आए. अब मैं चाहता हूं आप सब सारे एकेडमिशियंस इस कीनोट के बाद, इस पर्टिकुलर एड्रेस के बाद, आप सब अपना एक केस स्टडी लिखें. मुझे सबमिट करने की जरूरत नहीं है. मैं व्हाट इज अ केस स्टडी, मेरे हिसाब से a case study is equal to a PDF document. That's it. मैं ये नहीं चाहता आप कुछ नया लिखें. I just want how you are improving the discipline. Focus on how you are improving the discipline rather than something new. So, if you are a professor of computer science, if you are a professor of Hindi language, you might have observed some changes, right, in the last 2 years in this domain. Write about it. Write about it on MS Word. ठीक है, 3 या 4 पेज लिखिए, उसको PDF के तौर पे MS Word पे स्टोर कर दीजिए. ठीक है. Now once you store that as a PDF document, that is a case study for me. A case study need not be something that is absolutely new or absolutely full of innovation or an absolutely new work of research. Just a 3 or 4 page corollary of how your work has improved over the last 2 years. If you can write about that, that is enough. It's in itself a case study. And as academicians, I believe that always, whenever we are talking of something with reference to the academic domain, we always have our particular way of trying to improve that particular domain. So let us bring that improvement onto paper rather than keeping it here. Write it down on MS Word, save it as a PDF document. Now, what to do with it, I will explain to you. I want all of you to develop a Google Scholar profile. आप चाहे कहीं भी हो, आप कैसे भी रूरल कॉलेज में हो, आप उस बारे में सोचे ना, आप एक Google Scholar profile बनाइए. This will help you leverage the power of international collaborative research. So Google Scholar profile. गूगल स्कॉलरली साइटेशंस, ये कैसे काम करते हैं। सो सबसे पहले आपको एक गूगल स्कॉलर प्रोफाइल बनाना है। scholar.google.com पे जाइए, अपने गूगल ईमेल आईडी से लॉगिन कीजिए, एक प्रोफाइल क्रिएट कीजिए। अगर ऑलरेडी है तो उस प्रोफाइल को अपडेटेड रखिए। नाउ दूसरी चीज है मेटा टैग्स ऐड करना, वो मैं आपको सिखाऊंगा। मैंने आपको जिस तरह से बताया, राइट अ पीडीएफ डॉक्यूमेंट एंड सेव इट, इस तरह से आप हर महीने ये कर सकते हैं। यू कैन सेल्फ पब्लिश पीडीएफ केस स्टडीज एवरी मंथ। In addition to that, how to create a knowledge box for yourself, I will teach you that. So I have a few examples. सबसे पहले देखिए इस व्यक्ति का जो ये गूगल स्कॉलर प्रोफाइल है, राइट नाउ थर्ड इस लाइन पे देखिए, यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ ओक्लाहोमा के जस्ट नीचे वेरीफाइड ईमेल एट ou.edu. Now why I am telling you this is Google Scholar, it has a lot of credibility for people who sign up with their official email IDs of their academic institutions or university, and that is where all of you have an advantage. As part of your institute, you might have an institute based email ID or University of Mumbai का email ID, वो भी आप actually request कर सकते हैं as a partner college of University of Mumbai. So when you have email IDs like these, Google Scholar gives you a verified account, and that is an advantage to all the academicians hearing this particular keynote, that you can create a verified profile for yourself for Google Scholar, which has a greater standing, a greater importance. Similarly, I told you to create meta tags. तो meta tags आपके जो subjects हैं, जो topics हैं, उन्हें आप clearly list out कर दीजिए उसी के नीचे, and हमने जो PDF documents बना के save किए हैं, उसे आप Google Scholar पे upload करने लगिए। Now when you do that, remember आपने जो भी particular books को refer किया हो, give the author citation and give them bibliographical reference. Write a page and write a bibliography about whom you have referred to, and give them citations in your work. Remember, the power of these citations is very strong, because this shows how internationally accepted your academic interface and research work is. So when you start publishing this, when the world starts reading it, if you have cited somebody, that leads to an entire system or a word of mouth mechanism in which your research and your academic profile will grow. So this is something I want all academicians to do today. Now आप देख सकते हैं, there is a box here, इसे हम citation index कहते हैं. Now Google Scholar जो है वो एक 10-year citation index create करता है, 2000 जैसे 11 to 18 आप देख सकते हैं राइट हैंड साइड में. सिमिलरली मैं यही कह रहा हूँ दैट अगर आप आज शुरू करेंगे तो 2030 तक इस तरह का एक citation index तैयार होगा. उसके नीचे आप देखिए H index and I10 index भी है. That is also something very valuable, because a lot of people who have been in the industry, like who have worked for Microsoft Research and all, वो लोग ये बॉक्स को ही स्क्रीनशॉट करके अपने सीवी में डाल देते हैं, because the amount of citations you have shows how many researchers have referred to your work, and thereafter your work has been cited by them. Let me tell you an example. There is a website that I want all of you to visit. It is of a fellow student of mine at Harvard called Sabrina Pastersky. The website is physicsgirl.com. Because she works in astrophysics, so her website is physicsgirl.com. तो आप इसे जाके देखिए, उसमें उनका CV है, ठीक है, physics PHYSICS girl.com. इसमें उनकी CV है, आप देखिए. She did her PhD as well as postdoc from Harvard and MIT on full scholarship, that too, and finished it at a very early age. Now is working as a professor and associate professor and all of that. Now, one of the greatest things that happened to her career was, as an academician, US media started calling her the next female Einstein. And ऐसा क्यों हुआ? Because she was working on papers around astrophysics, and while Stephen Hawking, the celebrated astrophysicist, he was alive, she published a lot of research paper around his work. And what essentially happened is, Stephen Hawking, because he would constantly publish work himself also, he referred to one such document around astrophysics, gave her a citation, and after that the media storm happened. Imagine आपको Stephen Hawking जैसे scientist, and ये क्यों हुआ? Because she was constantly publishing on Google Scholar. So Google Scholar profile and उसका impact बहुत large है, इसे आज ही समझिए. ये मेरा खुद का Google Scholar profile है, आप देख सकते हैं. I am not a full-time academician, I am a full-time industry person. I just give guest lectures. But even then, 2020 में आप देख सकते हैं, my जो नीचे बार ग्राफ दिया है, my case studies were almost near 1,200, and that is because I knew the power of publishing. I knew the power of bringing the power of publishing and Google Scholar to your academic profile. And आप देख सकते हैं मेरे citations they stand at 8122, and this is because I have been aware of this and I have started doing it. And trust me, it has helped me grow professionally also to a great extent. My academic admits to my academic achievements to professional, they have all been, Google Scholar has helped me along the way. So I really want, even मेरे कई सारे guest lectures भी because Google Scholar में किसी professor ने राजस्थान में पढ़ा and invited me, that's how this entire process has happened. So I really believe you also can change your entire experience as an academician because of it. Similarly, मैंने एक चीज कही थी, knowledge box create करना. So Google Scholar जो है वो web crawler registry जो होता है Google का, उसके साथ बहुत अच्छे से linked है. तो आप एक बार अपने research interest clearly cite out कर दें तो Google Scholar automatically read करके इस तरह का एक knowledge box create कर देता है आपके लिए. So that becomes very helpful, right? Because then anybody who searches you up on Google can directly see what you are working on. And similarly, जो scholarly articles उनका citation index भी बहुत अच्छा है, तो it refers, is very clear when you search for it on Google. Next thing is, आप पूछेंगे मेरे से हम publish कैसे करें सर, PDF बना के store तो कर लिया. So I want all of you to create a web presence for yourself. इसके लिए मैं आपको एक बहुत ही किफायती तरीका बताने वाला हूँ how you can do that. So to be able to create a website for yourself, all you need to do is have 83 rupees. That is all you need to spend to be able to create a website for yourself. I am going to demonstrate in the following slides how to do that. So देखिए, dyna.com करके website है. I want you to please go and check it out. It's a wonderful website. Now dyna.com पे जाइए. इस पे आप कोई भी आपके नाम का या आपके जो केस स्टडीज है उनके लिए आप अगर एक रिसर्च जर्नल का नाम सोच सकते हैं तो think of that. एंड .com तो आप खरीद ही सकते हैं, बट .com के अलावा देयर इज अ वेरी अफोर्डेबल एंड इजी डोमेन नेम जो एक्सटेंशन होता है, उसे .xyz कहते हैं. .xyz की जो SEO रैंकिंग है सर्च इंजिन्स में, दैट इज वेरी हाई. व्हाई? बिकॉज गूगल एज यू नो हैज बिकम अ बिगर कंपनी नाउ कॉल्ड अल्फाबेट. So Google के जो founders थे Larry and Sergey, they took over Alphabet, and thereafter Sundar Pichai was made the CEO of Google and later Alphabet also. So Alphabet की जो website है, the parent company of Google, that itself is hosted on abc.xyz. तो आप सोच सकते हैं when Google itself is hosted on XYZ, the SEO ranking of XYZ has gone up. So it is only available for 83 rupees as you can see. So register a website like this. Now you might tell me, sir, हम तो English literature पढ़ाते हैं, हिंदी मराठी पढ़ाते हैं, how we will create a website? We don't know coding. So you don't need to know coding. This is exactly what I am trying to do via this presentation. I am giving you ways how you can enhance your academic experience. देखिए 83 rupees के बाद नीचे एक वेबसाइट बिल्डर का ऑप्शन है, उसे इनेबल कीजिए, वो फ्री है. आपको एक फ्री 1 पेज वेबसाइट मिल जाएगी, तो उसे आप एस्टैब्लिश कर दीजिए. देखिए टोटल फाइनली 83 ही आता है. वेबसाइट बिल्डर 1 पेज का है. वंस यू चेक इट आउट, इट विल अ डैशबोर्ड विल ओपन आपको, एंड दैट डैशबोर्ड में आपको अपना वेबसाइट जो है 1 पेज में आपको सिर्फ, इट इज अ ड्रैग एंड ड्रॉप मैकेनिज्म. आप फोटोज उठा के ड्रॉप कर दीजिए, आप उसमें आपका जो डिटेल्स है वो ड्रॉप कर दीजिए. इसके बाद आप अपने घर में कोई भी बच्चा हो, अगर आप कंप्यूटर सेवी ना हो, तो एक उसमें वर्डप्रेस रहेगा बैकग्राउंड में, डैशबोर्ड में. वर्डप्रेस में एक पीडीएफ अपलोडर करके विजेट है, आप सिर्फ उसे सर्च करेंगे तो मिल जाएगा. उस पीडीएफ अपलोडर विजेट को इंस्टॉल कर दीजिए, और उसके बाद आपके ये जितने हमने पीडीएफ फाइल स्टोर किए ना केस स्टडी के फॉर्म में, उसे अपलोड करने लग जाइए. ऑल योर केस स्टडीज विल बी देयर ऑन योर वेबसाइट फॉर द वर्ल्ड टू सी ऑन एन एक्सक्लूसिव डोमेन नेम रजिस्टर्ड टू यू. नाउ यू माइट टेल मी, सर, हाउ डू आई make an app out of it? हमें तो कोडिंग आती नहीं है. तो there is another website of Google, it is called Firebase. तो मैं चाहता हूँ आप Firebase पे जाएं और Firebase पे अपने Google ID से लॉग इन कीजिए. अब Firebase जो है 1 साल का फ्री ट्रायल भी देता है. अगर वो ट्रायल खत्म हो जाए तो $25 का प्ले स्टोर का उसका एनुअल फी है. वो फी मैं आपको वेव करवा दूंगा अगर आप मुझे लिखे तो. सो व्हाट यू नीड टू डू इज, वो जो वेबसाइट हमने क्रिएट किया, जो भी नाम उसने आपका रखा आपने, उसको आप अपने Firebase के एक नया प्रोजेक्ट चालू कीजिए और उसके डैशबोर्ड में डाल दीजिए. Firebase क्या करेगा, उसका एक .apk फाइल जनरेट करेगा. अ .apk फाइल इज एन एक्सटेंशन फॉर एन एंड्रॉइड ऐप. Once that file is generated, all you need to do is एक Play Store account जो कि 1 साल का फ्री ट्रायल है. In addition to that $25 डेवलपर फी है जो मैं वेव करवा दूंगा. तो आप उस पर जाइए and upload that .apk file. Within 2 to 4 hours on Android Play Store, your app will be live and running by your name, by the name of the website that we have just created. So within 83 rupees only, we can have our own website and app with our content, with our research papers for the world to see. And trust me, this simple move will cause a great change in your experience as an academician. So I want you guys to take that seriously. Now, one more thing, guys. We need to upgrade our coding skill set. देखिए, at least हम हमारे students को तो ये सिखा ही सकते हैं. 2022 में MS ऑफिस, MS वर्ड, MS पावर पॉइंट, MS एक्सेल, इसे हम अगर हमारा टेक्निकल स्किल सेट कहते हैं तो ये गलत बात है. वी नीड टू अपग्रेड टू न्यूअर लैंग्वेजेस. इसमें एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट लैंग्वेज है कॉल्ड पाइथन. पाइथन जो है आज की तारीख में पूरी दुनिया का बैकबोन है. आप क्रिप्टो करेंसी की बात करें, आप टेक इंडस्ट्री की बात करें, आप फाइनेंशियल कॉर्पोरेशंस की बात करें, सबका बैकएंड सिस्टम पाइथन पे बेस्ड है. तो हम क्या करें, एक फ्री कोर्स है, क्या हम सब ये फ्री कोर्स कर सकते हैं एज एकेडमिशियंस? बिकॉज दिस विल मेक अस एट पार, एक ग्लोबल एज देगा आपके करियर को एज एन एकेडमिशियन. आप एक फिक्स्ड इनकम में, एक फिक्स्ड जॉब में हैं, बट कैन यू ऑल्सो डू समथिंग एडिशनली इन द ग्लोबल एकेडमिक कम्युनिटी? And this is an answer to that. So there is a course called Programming for Everybody getting started with Python. edX नाम का वेबसाइट है. तो there are lot of good courses, MOOC courses आपने सुना होगा, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया की वेबसाइट है. स्वयं, मेरा खुद का एक कोर्स आ रहा है स्वयं पे. अपार्ट फ्रॉम दैट देयर इज कोर्सेरा, यूडेमी, यूडेसिटी, खान एकेडमी एंड edX. So edX is very good website that I feel that has potential to provide a lot of good courses. So there is a University of Michigan hosted course. This course is free, as you can see. So I don't think you need a certification as senior academicians yourself. So go ahead with it and register for it. It's a 7-week course, 2 to 4 hours per week हम सभी दे सकते हैं. And you will have at least some working proficiency of Python. ये बहुत essential है आज की तारीख में. At least that certification on your CV will enhance your brand as an academician. So why I am talking about all these things is I am trying to help each academician as part of this faculty development program to stand out from the crowd and be visible as an academician across the entire world community. So remember, be known for a specific domain. आज की तारीख में specificity is the key of the industry. So whenever you are trying to work on something, remember specificity is the key to standing out. Also post content across LinkedIn, ResearchGate एक website है अगर आप जानते हो, Google Scholar, इस तरह से. And leveraging the power of positive PR, that is, remember how much of the problem you are solving rather than how many people speak of you. Similarly, there is another important concept called Kaizen जो आप implement कर सकते हैं. Kaizen is a Japanese philosophy. This was pioneered by what we call as the TPS, Toyota Production System. So it is the concept of continuous improvement. So how we can become Kaizen soldiers daily. So Kaizen के ये concept पे आप case studies भी लिख सकते हैं. In addition to that, you can also bring it as part of your daily academic curriculum. So इस तरह के कुछ concepts हैं TPS के. ये सब टोयोटा के ही posters है. Kaizen हुआ, Genchi Gunbutsu हुआ, Yokoten हुआ. तो Japanese जो है they are known for best practice sharing and best practices in the industry. So ये कुछ इस तरह के concepts हैं जो आप irrespective of your domain, you can apply it to your daily life, right? So that is what this entire concept has been about. Now, the 4 conferences you can abide by. So मैंने Apple का एक बताया आपको, वर्ल्ड वाइड डेवलपर्स कॉन्फ्रेंस है. सिमिलरली गूगल का I/O है. वैसे ही आप देख सकते हैं माइक्रोसॉफ्ट का बिल्ड है एंड फेसबुक का F8 है. अब आप मेरे से बोलेंगे सर हम एकेडमिशियन है, हम क्या करेंगे कॉन्फ्रेंस अटेंड करके? ट्रस्ट मी, ये कॉन्फ्रेंसेस में एल्डेस्ट लोग जो अटेंड करते हैं दे आर 65 इयर्स ओल्ड. इस कॉन्फ्रेंसेस में सीखने की कोई उम्र नहीं होती. एंड सबसे बड़ी बात ये है दैट these are not 1-day conferences from the company. These are 4 or 5-day conferences that teach you about technologies. And इसमें कोई आपको कोडर या ऐप डेवलपर या टेकी होने की जरूरत नहीं है. People who are language professors, they are also part of this conference because someone somewhere is working on an app or a concept around languages and you can be of help to them. So this is one platform for global networking. And अगर आप देखें तो WWDC जो है ये अपने 39th year, 40th year में पहुंच चुका है. And trust me, last 40 सालों में every year they have been charging a ticket of $1,500. Plus you have to fly down to California to attend it, the tickets, everything. Trust me, from a country like India ये हमारे लिए पहले possible नहीं था. बट अभी लास्ट 2-3 सालों से ये सब कॉन्फ्रेंसेस हो गए हैं फ्री और हो गए हैं वर्चुअल. तो हमें सिर्फ रजिस्टर करना है. तो रजिस्टर कहाँ पे करना है हमें? developer.apple.com, developer.google.com, developer.microsoft.com and developer.facebook.com. अभी बहुत सही समय है जब ये कॉन्फ्रेंस हुआ है. मैं चाहता था कि कुछ ज्यादा कॉन्फ्रेंसेस ये जनवरी फेब मार्च में ही हो जाए बिकॉज अभी इनके रजिस्ट्रेशन चालू हैं. एंड ये सारे कॉन्फ्रेंसेस आप देख सकते हैं. WWDC 5 दिन का होता है जून के महीने में. गूगल I/O लास्ट ईयर हुआ था मई 18 से 20 तक. माइक्रोसॉफ्ट का बिल्ड 25, 26, 27 मई को हुआ था. तो मोस्टली ये सब मई जून में होते हैं. अभी आप रजिस्टर कर लीजिए, फ्री है, आप अटेंड कर लीजिए. दिस विल रियली हेल्प यू कनेक्ट विद द ग्लोबल कम्युनिटीज में एकेडमिशियंस, टेकीज, एंटरप्रेन्योर्स, डेवलपर्स, सब तरह के लोग मिलेंगे, and it will have a real changing experience in how you approach technology and how you learn about new things that are happening in the industry. And there is something for everybody in these conferences. So this is something that will really help you develop your brand as an academician. Technologies that are going to change the future. तो इसमें सबसे पहले आता है भाई एक टेक्नोलॉजी जिसका मैंने जिक्र किया था, आउटरनेट, जिस पे मैं खुद काम कर रहा हूँ. तो आउटरनेट में हम क्या कर रहे हैं आज? वी आर पार्ट ऑफ अ प्रोजेक्ट कॉल्ड एज वन वेब. वन वेब एक यूरोपियन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है which has been powered by Airbus and funded by Richard Branson and all of them. So what we are trying to do is, जैसे मैंने कहा इंटरनेट का जो प्राइमरी टेक्नोलॉजी है वो क्या, डीप सी केबल्स, यानी वायर बिछाए गए हैं समुद्र के नीचे. दैट इज हाउ दिस एंटायर प्रोसेस वर्क्स. So similarly, we are trying to create the deep sea cable equivalent of the सैटेलाइट नेटवर्क, जिसे कि हम आउटरनेट कहते हैं. तो लो अर्थ ऑर्बिट है लियो. लियो में हम छोटे सैटेलाइट्स, माइक्रोसैट्स, नैनोसैट्स एंड क्यूबसैट्स का एक कॉन्स्टलेशन डाल रहे हैं. द एम ऑफ OneWeb is by 2028 they want to launch around 6,000 such satellites. So that is how satellite internet is going to become a reality. Now one another beautiful technology that I wanted to speak about is artificial intelligence. तो इसे आप पहचानते हैं, ये क्या है? This is Google's self-driving car. और ट्रस्ट मी, कैलिफोर्निया की सड़कों पे ये पिछले 10-15 सालों से है. एंड आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस अगेन कोई बहुत ज्यादा ब्रेक थ्रू टेक्नोलॉजी नहीं है. आप सोच के देखें तो हमारे बच्चों के पास और घरों में वो जो एक इनिशियल बुक ग्रेम हुआ करता था, दैट आल्सो हैड रूडिमेंटरी लेवल एआई कैपेबिलिटीज. किसी का ऑडियो चालू है तो आप प्लीज उसे म्यूट कर लीजिए. Right, so even वो brick game में rudimentary level AI capabilities हुआ करती थी, and that is exactly where this technology is headed today. So आज की तारीख में Go करके एक गेम है, board game like chess, and Google का जो AI engine है that has defeated the world champion of Go, a Taiwanese man. तो इस तरह के simple projects हम हमारे colleges में करवा सकते हैं. चेस, सुडोकू, ये सब क्लासिक एग्जांपल्स हैं अपने खुद के AI बेस्ड इंजिन्स बनाने के लिए, irrespective of the domain you are in. मैं आपको कुछ क्रॉस डोमेन एग्जांपल्स देना चाहता हूं, जैसे कि ऑगमेंटेड रियलिटी या वर्चुअल रियलिटी आपने सुना होगा. ऑगमेंटेड रियलिटी के कुछ डिवाइसेस आप लोग जानते हो, जैसे कि आपने सुना होगा ऑक्यूलस है फेसबुक का, जो कि गियर वीआर के नाम से सैमसंग ने बेचा था. सिमिलरली गूगल का गूगल ग्लास है, माइक्रोसॉफ्ट का होलो लेंस है. सो ये सब क्या है? दीज आर आई गियर्स. नाउ आई गियर्स आर एसेंशियल बिकॉज मैंने जैसा बताया कंज्यूमर एक्सपीरियंस, यूजर एक्सपीरियंस को ये मेनी फोल्ड्स बढ़ा देती है. सो मैं जो था, आई वाज वन ऑफ द फर्स्ट इनोवेटर्स और इन्वेस्टर्स इन दिस डोमेन. क्लाउड क्यूब करके, दिस इज अ स्टार्टअप. दिस वाज इन अ प्लेस कॉल्ड Startup Village in Kochi, which was India's first tech business incubator, TBI, under the Department of Science and Technology, Government of India. So I leased out a few Oculus devices to them. ये मैं खुद हूँ Oculus device पहन के खड़ा हूँ. This was in the year 2012. तो आप सोच सकते हैं हमने एक डिकेड पहले काम शुरू कर दिया था. Now one of the first apps जो इन्होंने बनाया, AR VR app, that was called a solar system app. अब आप सोचेंगे कि यार सोलर सिस्टम ऐप क्या है, ये क्यों है? बिकॉज आप सोच के देखिए, they were leasing out these devices to schools. Now what do schools want? Schools just want a better way of learning, and that is exactly what they were providing. अब आप सोच के देखिए, second या third standard student, when he wears a device like this and he is visualizing the solar system in front of him, from Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, all of these in front of him, his experience of learning has become so many folds better, right? Similarly, इनका जो सेकंड ऐप था, दैट वाज कॉल्ड द ह्यूमन बॉडी ऐप, जिसमें हमें डॉक्टर्स, बॉटनी, जूलॉजी प्रोफेसर सबकी जरूरत पड़ी. तो मैं वही कह रहा हूँ, टेक्नोलॉजी एंड इनोवेशन जो है ये क्रॉस फंक्शनल, मल्टी डोमेन, मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरी एक्सपीरियंस है, जिसमें हर तरह के प्रोफेसर की जरूरत है. तो आज की तारीख में जरूरत है हम इनके बारे में अवेयर हों और इन्हें अडॉप्ट करें और हमारे स्टूडेंट्स को सिखाएं. तो ह्यूमन बॉडी ऐप में हमने क्या किया कि देखिए, सबसे पहला चैलेंज इनके लिए ये था दैट आज की तारीख में मेडिकल कॉलेजेस जो है उनके पास कैडेवर्स यानी डेड बॉडीज नहीं है फॉर डाइसेक्शन. सो इफ मेडिकल कॉलेजेस डू नॉट हैव कैडेवर्स फॉर डाइसेक्शन, हाउ डू वी लर्न, हाउ डू वी teach anatomy to first year medical students? So they created a human body app. It requires good graphic user interface, good user interface, UI UX, and good flawless coding. And the result was an app in which you could visualize the entire human body, every artery, vein, capillary, every organ system right in front of you. So this was the power of this human body app. And in 2020 during the pandemic when medical colleges had started, and trust me, jab log जा नहीं पा रहे थे, and you know, trust me, medical education was for first year students, it was a huge pain. That is where this app was acquired by Stanford Medical for $15 million and thereafter distributed to medical colleges across the globe. So this is why I say COVID is an opportunity, because इस तरह के आकर innovation में starting से जुड़े रहेंगे तो it will cause a great change in the way we approach learning. There is another concept called big data and data analytics, जिसके बारे में मैंने सबसे पहले बात करी थी. तो मैं हमारे स्टार्टअप जो स्पेसिफाई है उसमें कमा कैसे रहे थे, ये एग्जांपल आपको देना चाहता था. तो हमने ऑब्वियसली सैटेलाइट इंटरनेट, जिस तरह से हम डीटीएच अप्रोच करते हैं उसी तरह से सैटेलाइट इंटरनेट को अप्रोच किया. एक डिश है जो डायरेक्टली सैटेलाइट से रिसीव करती है सिग्नल्स, उसके बाद आपके घरों में सेट टॉप बॉक्स है, हमारे पास राउटर है जिससे वो कनेक्ट होता है, एंड दैट इज हाउ वी कनेक्ट टू इंटरनेट. नाउ इन केस ऑफ आवर commercial operations, we started it in Singapore, जहाँ पे मैं तब based था. Now why we did it in Singapore is also because Singapore is one of the Asia Pacific headquarters for every major tech corporation, financial corporation around the world. Now in Singapore, Changi Airport जो है, which is the airport of Singapore, it is like a gateway to Asia, because every month 19.5 lakh people from across the world, before COVID, that is, used to go in and out of the airport. So we were milking the traffic potential of Changi Airport as a hub for in this innovation. So we rolled out our own Wi-Fi across the airport, which was called Wi-Fi at Changi. And इसके अलावा across Singapore also we launched a network called Wireless at SG. Now Wi-Fi at Changi जब हमने launch किया, so मैं यही example आपको समझा रहा हूँ, हम पैसे कैसे बना रहे थे. Because as at our startup, our motive was that we were providing free internet. The end product or service was free. Dr. Kalam also wanted this to be an essential idea towards his dream of a developed India. तो इसीलिए हमने हमारा जो इंटरनेट सर्विस है, चाहे हम वो गांव में प्रोवाइड करें इंडिया में या कमर्शियल ऑपरेशन सिंगापुर में, हम एंड प्रोडक्ट जो है उसे फ्री रखा है हमने. तो अगर एंड सर्विस या एंड आपका जो कमोडिटी है, सर्विस है, फ्री इंटरनेट आप दे रहे हैं, तो आप पैसे कैसे बनाएंगे, आप उनके लिए चार्ज नहीं कर रहे. सो दैट इज वेयर वी क्रिएटेड एन एंटायर डेटा मोनेटाइजेशन इंजन, हम इसे कहते हैं. तो व्हाट वी डिड इज, मैं आपको ये सिंपल शब्दों में एग्जांपल समझाना चाहता हूँ to help you realize the power of data analytics and data monetization, जिसे हम कहते हैं. So what we did is, अभी सिंगापुर एयरपोर्ट में कोई आएगा तो now people are from around the world are traveling either for vacation, honeymoon, for business, for study, and it's a huge influx of people. So whenever someone lands at the airport, they are connected to the Wi-Fi. Now as soon as they connect to the Wi-Fi, we redirect them to our website, जहाँ पे कि they are asked to enter their mobile number and email ID, which we duly verify by Truecaller. Now after this there is a 19-point terms and conditions agreement, जिसपे कि हमेशा इंटरनेट पे लोग बिना बड़े I agree पे क्लिक कर देते, nobody clicks on I do not agree. That gives me a right to use their email ID and mobile number in an ethical manner for targeted advertising. So we were able to see their entire activity on our network, and based on their activity, based on their searches, we were able to provide them with advertising, and that is how the entire internet works. तो इंटरनेट का सबसे बड़ा मनी मेकिंग टूल क्या है? एडवर्टाइजिंग. गूगल एडसेंस करके गूगल की एक कमोडिटी है, दैट इटसेल्फ इज $500 बिलियन वर्थ का है. व्हाई? बिकॉज आप सोच के देखिए, हर कंपनी के पास आज की तारीख में एक एडवर्टाइजिंग बजट है. एंड जो हमारे ओल्ड स्कूल कंपनीज हैं, पहले सब एडवर्टाइजमेंट्स होर्डिंग पे डालते थे, टेलीविजन पे डालते थे, और वो लोग उसे इन द फॉर्म ऑफ न्यूज़पेपर एड्स डालते थे. बट आप होर्डिंग डाल रहे हैं, आप टीवी रेडियो पे डाल रहे हैं, आप सोच के देखिए आपके पास एक फुटफॉल नहीं है, कितने लोगों ने वो ऐड देखा. Whereas इंटरनेट पे अगर आप वो पैसा खर्च करते हैं तो you have an exact footfall, exact conversion ratio of how many people have seen that ad. So that is exactly what we did with reference to this. So इस तरह से we were collecting data and we were collecting email IDs and numbers. But one major challenge happened that ये जो numbers हम collect कर रहे हैं, these were no longer of any use after 5 days because people were going back. तो हम जिस पे OTP भेज रहे थे उनको connect करने के लिए, numbers काम के नहीं थे. तो then we came up with an idea, why not launch an app? So we launched our own app. Now whenever you are using our network, it will redirect you to App Store or Play Store depending on iOS or Android, and वहाँ से आपका app install हो जाएगा. Now the 3 MB का हल्का सा app है. Once it installs, every app will ask for permissions. So once it has installed, if you are using Android, it will ask for a permission where you click on I accept, you never click on I do not accept. Same is with iOS. Now once we did that, तो वी रियलाइज्ड एक पर्सन का जो होम कंट्री नंबर है वो उसका व्हाट्सएप नंबर होगा. सो अ पर्सन कमिंग फ्रॉम जर्मनी और अ पर्सन कमिंग फ्रॉम कनाडा और मेक्सिको और एनीवेयर रशिया एनीवेयर इन द वर्ल्ड, उसका होम कंट्री नंबर उसका व्हाट्सएप नंबर होगा. सो वी आस्क परमिशन टू एक्सेस द पर्सन's व्हाट्सएप नंबर on our app that has just installed. So by doing so, we created a database of over 37 million unique email IDs and mobile numbers from across the world. Now we realized, why just stop at WhatsApp numbers? Why not ask permission to access the person's phone book also? So we access the person's phone book also. And aisa karke we imagine a person coming from Germany is a gateway to the 800 German email IDs and numbers on his phone. And by doing so, we created a database of over 225 million unique email IDs and mobile numbers from across the globe. So इस तरह से आप सोच रहे हैं, इसी डेटा को बिग डेटा कहते हैं. एंड आप सोच के देखिए इसका पोटेंशियल. नाउ ट्रू कॉलर जैसी कंपनीज वर वन ऑफ आवर बिगेस्ट क्लाइंट्स, एंड डेटा जो है अराउंड 15 ईमेल आईडीज एंड मोबाइल नंबर्स के लिए आपको 1 सेंट मिलता है. एंड आप सोच के देखिए 225 मिलियन email IDs and mobile numbers from across the globe, because that is the number of people visiting Singapore. That itself could create enough ad-based, revenue-based, data monetization-based revenue for us to, fuel our operations as well as pay salary for over 40 employees in Singapore. So you can imagine this is the power of data monetization. So in order to create something today, आपको एक product बना के बेचने की जरूरत नहीं है कि ये मेरे पास है या आप खरीद लीजिए. All you need to do is create a data monetization engine behind it, and that is exactly what we did. So Forbes and Harvard Business Review, they called us the inventors of the data economy in Singapore, and that is what we were aspiring to do. We created an entire data monetization engine for the ad networks and ad platforms on the internet. So इसीलिए मैं समझता हूँ इस तरह के काम पे हमें फोकस करना चाहिए, बिकॉज आज की तारीख में the pace in which things are changing, we have a lot of potential to make change happen. Similarly, collaborative research एक डोमेन है जिसके अवसर खुल जाएंगे अगर आप केस स्टडीज पब्लिश करें. ये 11th पॉइंट है. alumni status across institutions. So at a senior stage as an academician, आप सब किसी ना किसी IIM का alumni status भी हासिल कर सकते हैं. अगेन मैंने जैसे बताया, कोविड इज एन अपॉर्चुनिटी. आप देखेंगे IIM अहमदाबाद वगैरह ने अपने एग्जीक्यूटिव एजुकेशन डोमेन्स ओपन कर दिए. क्या आपको पता है लास्ट 2 साल में कई सारे एग्जीक्यूटिव एजुकेशन प्रोग्राम्स फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट कर दिए गए थे, जो कि ओरिजिनली 1-1 लाख रुपए के होते थे, बिकॉज थिंग्स वेर ऑन कोविड एंड वर्चुअल. एंड कोई भी 1 लाख रुपया वर्चुअली 2 दिन का क्लासरूम अटेंड करने के लिए ऑनलाइन नहीं देगा. 1 लाख रुपया तो कैंपस में आके रह के पढ़ने के लिए था. सो दैट इज वेयर इस तरह के कई सारे कोर्सेस है. आप देख सकते हैं मार्च 7 को बिग डेटा एनालिटिक्स था. इस तरह के इसी साल के 22 कैलेंडर के आप देखिए कई सारे कोर्सेस हैं. अभी भी कई कोर्सेस फ्री हैं, कुछ कोर्सेस पेड हैं. बट ये मैं क्यों आपसे करने को कह रहा हूँ, बिकॉज आप देखिए इधर लास्ट एक पॉइंट है दैट अगर आप 21 डेज के कोर्सेस अटेंड कर लेते हैं, और अभी आपको कहीं जाने की जरूरत नहीं है, आप ऑनलाइन कर सकते हैं. यानी आप अगर कुछ कोर्सेस ऐसे भी थे जो 5 डे के थे और फ्री थे एब्सोल्युटली, तो आपने 5 डे वाले 2 कोर्सेस कर लिए तो 10 डेज के हो गए. टोटल आपको 21 डेज के कोर्सेस कवर करने हैं. उसके बाद आपको सिर्फ एक वन टाइम अलुमनाई फी देना है ऑफ 10,000 रुपीज. एंड विद दैट यू विल बिकम एन अलुमनस. यू विल गेट एन ऑफिशियल अलुमनाई कार्ड एंड अलुमनाई स्टेटस and a certificate from IIM Ahmedabad, and so many other IIMs and B schools around the world have opened this. So there is a potential for us as academicians to gain alumni status of very reputed institutions also. ऑनलाइन सर्टिफिकेशंस में देयर इज समथिंग कॉल्ड एज माइक्रो मास्टर्स. तो मैंने आपको एडेक्स के बारे में बताया. एडेक्स के अगर आप 4 छोटे कोर्स कर लेते हैं तो वो एक माइक्रो मास्टर्स बन जाता है. एंड दिस माइक्रो मास्टर्स हैज अ मास्टर्स डिग्री लेवल साइटेशन. तो आपके पास अगर कोई न्यू डोमेन में आप पढ़ना चाहते हैं तो आज की तारीख में ऑनलाइन आप उसे माइक्रो मास्टर्स प्लेटफॉर्म के थ्रू एडेक्स में कर सकते हैं. नाउ बिल्डिंग एन इंडस्ट्री रेडी सीवी, तो आप देखिए देयर इज अ वेबसाइट कॉल्ड novoresume.com. मैं चाहता हूं आप अपने सारे स्टूडेंट्स को एंड आप खुद भी एज एकेडमिशियन इसे अडॉप्ट करें. पूरा वर्ल्ड आज एक 1 पेज सीवी की बात कर रहा है. ये खुद इलॉन मस्क ने अपनी सीवी बनाई हुई है इस पे. तो अगर इलॉन मस्क जैसा आदमी बना सकता है तो हम क्यों नहीं बना सकते. सो द वेबसाइट इज novoresume novoresume.com. सो प्लीज इस पे जाइए. आप अब फ्री में इसे यूज करके अपना एक इंडस्ट्री रेडी सीवी बना सकते हैं. अपने स्टूडेंट्स को गाइड कीजिए. दिस इज द फ्यूचर वेयर द इंटरफेस बिटवीन इंडस्ट्री एंड एकेडमिया इज हेडेड. And also, like I always say, dream big, because specificity is the key towards what we try to accomplish. A large part of my work was because of Dr. Kalam's intervention in my life. I believe that Outernet is the future. ये वही launch है जिसके बारे में मैंने आपसे कहा था. इसरो आप जानते हैं one of the most जुगाड़ू स्पेस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है धरती का. तो इसी तरह के एक आपने सुना होगा 104 सैटेलाइट्स को लॉन्च किया था इसरो ने. तो इसी तरह के एक PSLV C-29 मिशन में हमारा भी सैटेलाइट लॉन्च हुआ. This was news coverage from that particular satellite. So is launching. So इस तरह के हमारे खुद के आज 5 CubeSats लॉन्च हो चुके हैं जो कि लो अर्थ ऑर्बिट में हैं. And this is the journey of how my startup Spacify was born. हमने इसे पैसा बनाने के लिए नहीं, our intention was clear that we needed to bridge the digital divide. मैं बाहर पढ़ के आया, मैं US में रहा, सिलिकॉन वैली में, I worked for Google and Apple. So I realized that कितना ज़्यादा इंटरनेट का महत्व जरूरी है. एंड आज की तारीख में लोगों की शादियां इंटरनेट के थ्रू होती हैं, लोग काम इंटरनेट के थ्रू ढूंढते हैं, पढ़ाई आज की तारीख में हम इंटरनेट के थ्रू कर रहे हैं. तो इंटरनेट का अवेलेबिलिटी, उसका पेनिट्रेशन हर गाँव में होना जरूरी है. एंड स्पेशली ड्यूरिंग द पैंडेमिक वी सॉ so many students and children across villages in India, 450 villages wrote to us that because of your free Wi-Fi at the Anganwadi Kendri in our village, we were able to study and clear our exams. So I believe that was one of the greatest accomplishments of my journey in innovation and across this entrepreneurial domain. So ये जो पूरा डोमेन है ये disruptive innovation कहलाता है. इसे हम कहते हैं blue ocean strategy. तो हम अपना खुद का blue ocean create करें जिसमें कि हम uncontested market space create कर रहे हैं. हम पुराने convention से नहीं जाते हुए हम एक नया domain create कर रहे हैं. And this is how मैंने बताया आपको, मैंने revenue generate किया क्योंकि हमारा primary offering free internet था. And remember, we solved one of the crucial business secrets of companies like Facebook and Google. If the product or service is free, तो पैसा कैसे बनाए? Remember, whenever the product or service is free, the consumer, जो आप हैं, उपभोक्ता हैं, the consumer is no longer the consumer is the product. This is my number one quote for today. If the product or service is free, the consumer is not the consumer is the product. Facebook and Google को क्या मजा मिल रहा है आपको फ्री में अपनी सर्विस यूज करने देने का? They have been earning through you. This is the power of data monetization, everyone. And इसी बिजनेस को कहते हैं the business of programmatic sales. So we were early players in this domain. That is why we got an advantage. And this is where I believe true innovation lies. इंडिया में हम entrepreneurship को हम एक लाइवलीहुड के लिए एक शब्द यूज करते हैं, आजीविका. तो एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप हम एज आजीविका करें. एंड वर्ल्ड जो है वो यूएस वगैरह में दे डू एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप टू चेंज द वर्ल्ड. बट आई बिलीव ट्रू इनोवेशन लाइज इन बिटवीन द टू, वेयर वी आर एबल टू बैलेंस फाइनेंशियल आउटपुट एज वेल एज वी आर ट्राइंग टू चेंज द वर्ल्ड. सो फॉर मी दिस इज इनोवेशन. There are a few questions I would like to ask at this gathering today. ये से आप पहचानते हैं? Do you recognize this particular logo, everyone?
Yes.
What is this? If you can tell me. Motorola. And what is so special about Motorola, everyone? Motorola is the company that made the world's first mobile phone. कौन से साल में? 1973 में. January 1973 में Motorola made the world's first. They patented the first working prototype of the mobile phone. And today, where is Motorola? Anyone? So Motorola को Google ने acquire किया, उसके बाद Lenovo ने acquire किया. ठीक है. गूगल ने मोटोरोला को जब एक्वायर किया, गूगल कितने साल का था? इट वॉज अराउंड अ डिकेड ओल्ड. 1998 में लैरी एंड सर्जी का PhD पेपर था गूगल, पेज रैंक एल्गोरिदम एट स्टैनफोर्ड. एंड इन 2008 गूगल वॉज ओनली 10 years old. And a company that is only a decade old could manage to buy the pioneer of the mobile phone. Are we looking at this trend? Similarly, इसे आप सब पहचानते हैं, क्या है ये? Anyone?
Camera.
Kodak, right? And what is so special about Kodak, if you
Kodak,
can tell me? Anyone? Kodak is the company that made the world's first camera. हमारे घरों में वो जो black box रखा हुआ है कहीं पे, that was a Kodak camera, right? And today, where is Kodak? So in 1987-88, a bunch of youngsters went to the corporate headquarters of Kodak and told them that, this is the future of photography. It is going to have optical zoom, and it is going to have, ISO, and it is going to have an IC integrated circuit, and it will. This is the future of photography, and soon people will have cameras on their handheld devices, which are mobile phones. And what did Kodak tell them? Kodak told them, we know what photography is. This is a toy. We don't make toys. In 93-94, Kodak declared its corporate bankruptcy. These are classic B school case studies, everyone. In 93-94, Kodak declared its corporate bankruptcy. Similarly, you look at this example. Another pioneer of what? The laptop. Which company made the world's first laptop? The name is Toshiba. It was a Japanese brand. And आप अगर अभी गूगल करके देखेंगे तो 2020 में पैंडेमिक के दौरान तोशिबा बेचारा bankrupt हो गया. It sold off its entire laptop vertical to a company known as Sharp. So you can imagine ये examples हमें क्या सिखा रहे? These were all pioneers of the industries they catered to. Companies that were 30-40 years old. And what happened? Lack of innovation, lack of ability to see through the future, and lack of ability to adapt to change. And the entire existence of these companies was at stake. Similarly, the list is endless. Nokia, BlackBerry, all pioneers. Nokia, pioneer of what? Pioneer of the handheld device. Nokia 3310, the hammerhead, the nuclear warhead, right? The indestructible phone. Pioneer of the handheld phone in the Indian market. And today, where is Nokia? अगर आप Google करके देखेंगे तो Nokia जहाँ फिनलैंड में था, वो पूरे एरिया में Nokia खत्म होके एक स्टार्टअप कम्युनिटी आ गई है, because everyone went jobless from working for Nokia and suddenly. And Nokia का जो एक CEO था, he committed suicide. Another CEO, he cried at the annual general body meeting saying, I don't know where the company went wrong. Similarly, BlackBerry, another pioneer. Pioneer of what? Pioneer of a smartphone, pioneer of emailing on a handheld device, pioneer of a keyboard on a handheld device, and pioneer of a domain which is a $1 billion industry today called as IM, instant messaging. BlackBerry Messenger, आपको ध्यान होगा. And today, where is BlackBerry? अगर आप उसके equivalent देखें तो Apple is a $1 trillion company, Google is a $1 billion giant, and BlackBerry got sold for $150 million only to an Indo-Canadian, because we Indians never miss out on a good discount. But that is exactly what happened to these companies. Pioneers in their domain, but they ceased to exist due to lack of innovation. Similarly, you look at simple examples. मैंने इस lecture के starting में app economy की बात करी थी. Today an app is equal to a company. That has become the norm, and every app on our smartphone is an example of that. Do you recognize this, everyone?
Yes.
Insta.
Right? What is so special about Instagram in terms of quantifiable metrics? What is so special about Instagram? Anyone, please answer. So Instagram के बारे में it is एक term use होता है called unicorn. So Instagram is the first company to reach $1 billion valuation, everyone. $1 billion valuation in our times. $1 billion. Facebook acquired Instagram in 2014. And मात्र 18 महीनों में 13 लोगों की टीम ने, 13 members in 18 months. And this is also a very fine example of a lean startup. So what did Instagram do? This concept is called an aggregator model. So what is an aggregator as a startup? An aggregator is something that organizes a previously disorganized sector. So that is exactly what Instagram did. And it realized people no longer click photos and store them away in physical copies. People have digital copies of photos on their smartphones. And we combine the power of social networking. It gives you the world's largest aggregator of photos, videos, events across happening the world. And uske karan, something like Google image search, it dropped by 400% ever since Instagram came. So you identify a problem statement, create a platform that combines an end user to the product or service we are offering. Similarly, look at this example. इसे हम सब पहचानते? This is WhatsApp, right? And what is so special about WhatsApp? Again, around the same lines. अगर कोई कहना चाहता है तो. So WhatsApp को भी Facebook ने acquire किया for $19 billion. WhatsApp is the first company of our times to reach a unicorn mark in the fastest amount of time, that to the highest $1 billion valuation ever. 50 employees, 22 months could reach $1 billion startup. Why? Because they created like I said, create a product or service that becomes a synonym of the industry you want to enter. They made it clear, we do not want to put advertisements. We want to ensure flawless coding. And that is exactly what WhatsApp delivered. आज की तारीख में जब भी किसी को आपको टेक्स्ट करना है, we say that हम आपको WhatsApp कर देंगे. We don't say we'll Viber it to you, Hike it to you, Skype it to you, Kakao Talk it to you, WeChat it to you. And this is where आप सोच के देखिए Skype, जो कि एक बहुत important player था वीडियो कॉलिंग का. As soon as the pandemic came, Skype went away. Because आप सोच के देखिए, Skype में आप जब भी वीडियो कॉल करते थे, last 10 years का आप डेटा सोच के देखिए, it was not always up to the mark. There were always lags. There was always a fall in network. Because Skype never worked on its coding. And ever since the pandemic came, Zoom, Google Meet, Microsoft Teams, these have become important players of this industry. So it was important to ensure flawless coding, and that is exactly what WhatsApp delivered here. So अगर आज की तारीख में हम टेक्स्ट करना है, हम कहते हैं आपको WhatsApp कर देंगे. Just like every big bus is a Volvo, every washing powder is Nirma, every glucose biscuit is Parle-G. Similarly, every time we want to text, WhatsApp is the major player. So that is exactly what this domain has taught us. So that is where I believe innovation has a huge potential, and being an entrepreneur is the key skill component of the tech industry today. So there are 3 things to build genius: conceptual clarity, core competency, and technical expertise. अगर हम कहते हैं कि स्टार्टअप या एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप इज समथिंग दैट हमें स्ट्रीट स्मार्ट होना पड़ेगा, तो ये हमेशा ट्रू नहीं होता. अगर हम स्ट्रीट स्मार्ट रहेंगे तो स्टार्टअप्स विल बी कन्फाइंड टू द स्ट्रीट्स. इन ऑर्डर टू गो ग्लोबल हमें हमारा एकेडमिक इनपुट उस डोमेन में लेके आना पड़ेगा. दैट इज वेयर ऑल ऑफ यू एज एकेडमिशियंस हैव एन अपर हैंड टू बी एबल टू बी ऑफ मोर इंपॉर्टेंस टू दिस एंटायर डोमेन. ऑल्सो मैं कहता हूँ एंटरप्रेन्योरल स्किल्स जो है आपको एक MBA डिग्री से ज्यादा सिखाते हैं. आप सारे डोमेन्स पे काम करते हैं, from managing your funds to managing people to managing your sales to doing marketing yourself. Every great entrepreneur is a great salesman by the end of the day. So this is why it is important. Now, one of the essential things I learned under Dr. Kalam was his dream for a developed India. One of the important things that I often share is following our national dreams. तो हम passion versus fascination के बारे में बात करते हैं. So देखिए, आज की तारीख में it is very essential कि हम हमारे students को सिखाएं उनका passion क्या है और क्यों follow करें. अगर आपको शाहरुख खान पसंद है या आपको performing arts पसंद है, अगर चेतन भगत पसंद है या आपको literary arts पसंद है, अगर आपको कल्पना चावला पसंद है या astrophysics पसंद है, if your answer is the latter, that means it is something that is intellectually stimulating you. That is your passion. If your answer is the former, the person in the domain, that means you are fascinated by that person. That is merely a fascination. So your passion is something that intellectually stimulates you, and it is important that हम इस तरह के डोमेन में आगे बढ़े. And on the lighter side, देखिए, it is very essential that Dr. Kalam always used to say that in a country like India, we need to create people with scientific temper rather than scientists. So it is very important that we need to become a knowledge superpower. He never wanted India to become a superpower like US and Russia, who are now fighting for their piece of land. We wanted to become a knowledge superpower, and that is where I believe we need to leave pseudosciences out of the way. And if not pseudosciences, we need to stay away from such people in India, right? And ultimately our belief system and value system. तो हमारा बिलीफ सिस्टम एंड वैल्यू सिस्टम जो है, मैं समझता हूँ वेस्टर्न मीडिया ने इसे बहुत मैनिपुलेट करके रखा है. व्हाई? आई विल टेल यू सम एग्जांपल्स. तो मैंने आपसे एक बात कही कोर कॉम्पिटेंसी की. देखिए, मैं उसी डायरेक्शन में बात करूंगा. आप जब भी इंडिया के ओलंपिक परफॉर्मेंस के बारे में गूगल करेंगे, आपको खूब नेगेटिव आर्टिकल्स मिलेंगे इस तरह से. व्हाई इंडिया वोंट डू वेल एट द ओलंपिक्स. इवन आफ्टर द टोक्यो ओलंपिक्स व्हेन नीरज चोपड़ा won a gold medal, they said, अरे 125 crore people and we can still not just produce one gold medal. And that is because this was never our core competency. Our core competency were our gray cells. अगर आप सोच के देखें, Olympics of the brain, the International Physics Olympiad, Chemistry Olympiad, Bio Olympiad, Maths Olympiad, for the last 200 years there has been an Indian kid who has been winning gold medals there, but the Western media won't highlight that. Similarly, अगर आप एक चीज जानते हो, the National Spell Bee जो US में होता है, every year there is a 7 or 8 year old Indian student who wins the National Spell Bee in the US, internationally defeating 15 and 20 year olds. But the Western media won't highlight that because हमारा value system बहुत ज़्यादा Western media से flooded है. And that is where we need to realize that there is a reason why there is a Sundar Pichai at Google, a Satya Nadella at Microsoft, a Shiv Nadar at HCL. Even the chairperson of the World Bank right now is a lady called Anshuna Kant, जो कि formerly State Bank of India की director थी. So there is a reason why Indians are at the top of their brain game, and we need to realize that. Because आप सोच के देखिए, कहीं भी कोई मैराथन होता है तो हमेशा एक जमाइकन स्प्रिंटर ही होता है जो उसे जीतता है, बट वो उनकी कोर कॉम्पिटेंसी. आप उनसे बोलिए कोई IIT JEE AIEEE हमारे एग्जाम्स लिख के दिखाएं, they will never be able, they were not even remotely close to accomplishing that. So this is where I believe we need to innovate. There is a concept called moonshot innovations. Towards the end of my lectures, I'll just share a small slide. तो गूगल का जो कंपनी है वो अब एक बड़ा ऑर्गेनाइजेशन बन गया है कॉल्ड अल्फाबेट. तो अल्फाबेट के अंदर देयर आर 8 कॉन्स्टिट्यूएंट कंपनीज. सो देयर इज कैलिको, कैलिफोर्निया लाइफ कंपनी, देयर इज एक्स लैब्स, there is venture capital Nest Fiber, Google the parent company, bread and butter business जो है उनका, and Sidewalk Labs. तो इसमें जो है X Labs है वो उनका R&D सेंटर है. तो X Labs ने क्या कहा, अगर कोई ह्यूज प्रॉब्लम है तो उसके लिए हम कोई राजीव गांधी, नरेंद्र मोदी योजना लेके आएंगे, उसको बहुत समय लगेगा सॉल्व होने में. तो एज यंगस्टर्स वी नीड टू डेवलप ब्रेक थ्रू टेक्नोलॉजीज एंड प्रोवाइड अ रेडिकल सॉल्यूशन टू इट. तो इनका जो यूनियन है इसे एक्स कहते हैं। तो जो टेडएक्स का एक्स है वो यही एक्स है, स्पेस एक्स इलॉन मस्क की जो कंपनी है उसका एक्स भी यही है, द क्वेस्ट फॉर द अननोन। तो इस तरह से बहुत सारे ब्रिजेस हैं, गैप्स हैं, डिवाइड्स हैं जो हमें ब्रिज करने हैं। सो वी नीड टू बी एबल टू आइडेंटिफाई दैट एंड वी नीड टू सॉल्व फॉर इंडिया। So इसी तरह के मेरा जर्नी रहा, that is why Spacify happened and we a lot of good things happened. We started a data center of iCloud in India and that is how my entire experience around this domain has shaped. मैंने जैसे बताया हम डेटा प्राइवेसी में वन ऑफ द अर्ली प्लेयर्स थे क्योंकि हम डेटा लोगों का यूज कर रहे थे फॉर टारगेटेड एडवर्टाइजिंग। सो वी क्रिएटेड एन एंटायर चार्टर अराउंड डेटा प्राइवेसी दैट हम लोगों का मोबाइल नंबर, ईमेल आईडी शेयर नहीं करते हुए बाकी के जो उनका एक्टिविटी ऑनलाइन है उसे ट्रैक करते हुए उनको एडवर्टाइजमेंट्स प्रोवाइड करेंगे। दिस इज व्हाई द व्हाइट हाउस इनवाइटेड अस। अगर आप जानते हो तो डेटा प्राइवेसी बिकेम अ ह्यूज इशू। गूगल के सुंदर पिचाई और फेसबुक के मार्क जकरबर्ग, बोथ ऑफ whom have become billionaires because of the data engine of their companies, they were called by the US Senate, the Capitol in Washington DC for a Senate hearing, जिसमें कि senators ने उनसे पूछा कि how are you making money with data, and they had to answer that. So I was invited to one such hearing, and this is what shaped my learnings around data privacy from a very early age. Whenever I give a lecture around our data monetization engine, people always ask us, sir, data privacy. So we have very stringent laws in place, and because we were early policy makers and key players in this industry, so फर्क नहीं पड़ता आप कितने छोटे स्टार्टअप हो या कितने बड़े हो, आपका कितना डोमेन एक्सपीरियंस है और कितने एथिकल हो, आप उस पे आप ज्यादा फोकस कीजिए। दैट इज हाउ यू कैन ग्रो एज इन दिस डोमेन। नाउ वन ऑफ द मेजर थिंग्स दैट हैपेंड, बिकॉज मैं हमेशा कहता हूँ वी मस्ट इनोवेट फॉर इंडिया, बिकॉज एज अ कंट्री ऑफ billions of people, it is very important for us to start innovating for our country, and that is where my experience in the Indian Army happened. So because Spacify was already working in this domain called satellite internet, we had access to low earth orbit satellites. So uske sath and we were partners with ISRO, so we came up with this website called Vedas. तो अगर आप जाके देखें vedas.sac.gov.in, ये वेबसाइट हम ही ने इसरो के साथ डेवलप की है। वेदास का फुल फॉर्म है, इट स्टैंड्स फॉर विजुअलाइजेशन ऑफ अर्थ डाटा ऑब्जर्वेशन एंड आर्काइवल सिस्टम। So this we created in coordination with what we call as SAC, Space Application Center of ISRO. It is based in Ahmedabad. So उनके साथ हमने ये वेबसाइट डेवलप किया। Now we were already having low Earth orbit satellites, so we realized why just stop at providing internet? Why can't we enter into what we called as geospatial industry? So we are today after, because satellite internet का scope India में थोड़ा सा कम था initial days में. So after working in that, we realized that there is a whole lot of scope for us to develop things around the geospatial industry, जिसे हम geosciences and remote sensing कहते हैं everyone. So हम geosciences and remote sensing industry में उतरे 2018 में, and since then we have been providing essential aerial surveillance based data. तो इसमें number 1 हम data provide करते हैं to crop planning, crop estimation, weather forecasting and to agricultural institutes. तो Indian Agricultural Research Institute दिल्ली में जो है उन्हें हम data provide करते हैं, because satellite navigation can provide essential data towards soil patterns, soil का infrared sensing, soil की fertility, around these things. तो ये agriculture and कृषि विकास के लिए बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है इस तरह का data, satellite based data. Then we realized that हम aerial sensing में हैं, and Indian Army released a tender for working around remote sensing and these तरह के domains, and we had access to low Earth orbit satellites. So for free of cost, we offered Indian Army assistance that we will be able to provide our expertise to you. So as India's first geospatial startup, we got the opportunity to collaborate with the Indian Army. This was a huge monumental breakthrough for us. So we got felicitated by the Indian Army. This was with the Chief of Defence Staff, General Bipin Rawat, sadly जिनका demise हो गया last year December में, and this is with the Chief of Indian Army, current Chief General M.M. Narwane. So a lot of good things happened for us. And this was with Lieutenant General Paramjit Sangha. Lieutenant General Paramjit Sangha is the current commander of the Para SF regiment या Para Special Forces जिन्हें हम कहते हैं। ये वही regiment है जिन्होंने उरी में सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक्स को अंजाम दिया था। ना उरी सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक्स में अगर आपने वो मूवी भी देखी हो तो उसमें ड्रोन का इस्तेमाल किया गया है, वो हमारे ही कॉन्सेप्ट से इंस्पायर्ड था, बिकॉज वी वर इनटू एरियल रिमोट सेंसिंग. सो वी अपार्ट फ्रॉम सैटेलाइट्स वी एक्सटेंडेड आवर एक्सपर्टीज ऑन द ड्रोन नेटवर्क एज वेल, एंड बिकॉज of that we were able to provide a lot of assistance during the surgical strikes in 2016, and we also got end credits in the movie Uri the Surgical Strike. If you saw the if you remain till the end of the movie to see the end credits. तो इस तरह की कई अच्छी चीजें हुई. यही मैं कहता हूँ that if you start working on a domain, if you stick to it, a lot of good things will happen your way. And that is exactly what happened to us. हमेशा आप ये मत सोचिए कि आपको पैसे बनाना है. आप थोड़े से पैसे में अगर सस्टेन कर सकते हैं तो दैट इज मोर देन इनफ. आप अगर ग्रेटर कॉस्ट को एड्रेस करते हैं तो दैट इज द रियल थिंग दैट वी मस्ट डू. सिमिलरली दिस इज विद द मिनिस्टर, अर्बन मिनिस्टर ऑफ रूरल डेवलपमेंट, श्री नरेंद्र सिंह तोमर. ही इज द यूनियन मिनिस्टर करेंटली. इनके साथ हमने काफी काम किया टुवर्ड्स प्रोवाइडिंग इंटरनेट टू रूरल एजुकेशन. बिकॉज आज की तारीख में जो रूरल एजुकेशन सीन है काफी आप लोग जानते होंगे. मुझे मैम ने बताया कई हम रूरल महाराष्ट्र से भी हैं. आप लोग जानते होंगे दैट इंटरनेट पेनिट्रेशन तो है काफी कम है. ऊपर से जो हमारे ग्रामीण स्कूल होते हैं, जो क्रमांक स्कूल होते हैं, उसमें बच्चे आते भी नहीं है. तो ऐसे कई स्कूलों में हमने मध्य प्रदेश, राजस्थान, गुजरात में टेलीविजन लगवा दिया. तो अगर आप टेलीविजन लगवा देते हैं तो बच्चे उसके कारण स्कूल आ जाते हैं. अब इस टेलीविजन पे हम सिर्फ एजुकेशनल कंटेंट रन करते हैं और हमारा सैटेलाइट इंटरनेट प्रोवाइड करके रखा है. तो उसके कारण कस्टमाइज्ड एकेडमिक बेस्ड एनिमेशन एंड वीडियोस ही प्ले होते हैं, जो हमने थोड़ी ट्रेनिंग भी प्रोवाइड करी है वाया द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एजुकेशन एंड एचआरडी टू द टीचर्स एट दी स्कूल्स. तो इस तरह से हम काफी काम कर रहे हैं टुवर्ड्स ब्रिंगिंग द पावर ऑफ इंटरनेट टू रूरल इंडिया. एंड मैं समझता हूँ, देखिए इन सब के पीछे एक हमारी जुगाड़ मेंटालिटी है, वही हमारे केस में भी कारगर साबित हुई. जुगाड़ इज नो लॉन्गर अ सिंपल टर्म दैट वी यूज. इट इज अ कॉन्सेप्ट दैट हैज बीन रिकॉग्नाइज्ड बाय इवन हार्वर्ड बिजनेस स्कूल. दे कॉल इट फ्रूगल इनोवेशन. So frugal innovation is today a well-recognized concept around the world. Ki if you can make something great happen by simply combining things, that is the power of frugal innovation. And I believe इसी तरह के एक ideology ने हमें भी काफी help किया. Lot of good things happened this way. We got invited to Europe for a symposium. This is with the Telecom Minister of India, Shri Manoj Sinha. He is now the Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir. So while he was the Telecom Minister in the previous innings of the Modi government, this was at Sanchar Bhavan, which is at the Central Secretariat in South Block. So we were one of the first players in this domain. Apart from providing free internet, we also signed a first spectrum sharing license for satellite internet in this country. It was a domain that was previously dominated by companies like Airtel and Jio. So हमें हमारा खुद का spectrum sharing license मिला, again in partnership with Airtel because we could not afford it. But that is the beauty of this entire entrepreneurial journey, that आप कितने भी छोटे हो, आप कहीं से भी आते हो, if you have the will to solve for problem statements, if you have the technology, you can make real change happen. And this is exactly what happened during my interaction and my development with the telecom ministry. I was also part of the 5G level advisory committee for the telecom ministry.
Sorry sir, I would disturb you.
Just about
actually second guest has already joined, so it will be
I'm just wrapping up. Just last 3-4 slides.
Yeah. Thank you sir.
So this is what guys we are doing today. जैसा कि मैंने बताया, हम लो अर्थ ऑर्बिट पे काम कर रहे हैं. So वन वेब के द्वारा हम सैटेलाइट नेटवर्क बना रहे हैं. हम स्कूलों को वेब से जोड़ सकते हैं, राइट. हम वायरलेस सर्विस कवरेज एक्सटेंड कर सकते हैं. एंड मैंने जैसा कि बताया, ये देखिए अब मई 2015 का था, एंड ये वही क्यूबसैट है जो उस साल एंड में लॉन्च हुआ. तो इस तरह के कई सिंपल थिंग्स हैव लेड टू अनदर. And this was our journey at Spacify, what we are doing for providing wireless Wi-Fi to across rural India and a lot of commercial spaces. So इस तरह की simple चीजें हमने करी हैं, and I believe this have led us to develop a better innovation environment around us. So we are open to collaboration. आप case study लिखना चाहें, अगर आप हमारे साथ collaborate करना चाहें, तो feel free to write to me. And that brings me to the end of my keynote. So I'll leave you with a quote that is, you will be defined by not just by what you achieve, but how you survive it. So it is very essential for us to survive and remain steadfast in every circumstance, because that is the cornerstone of excellence. So thank you so much, everyone. You can stay in touch with me on Facebook. My name is Siddharth Rajan, so you can add me there. YouTube पे मेरे कुछ TEDx keynotes हैं, अगर आप आगे सुनना चाहें तो आप सुन सकते हैं. And these are my contact details. My number and my email ID is listed, so you can note it down. और आप वंदना मैम से ले सकते हैं, जो कोऑर्डिनेटर हैं इस पूरे FTP की. तो thank you so much for inviting me. It was a pleasure to address all of you via SGAS GPCC. So thank you so much, वंदना मैम. And अगर आप Instagram यूज करते हैं तो आप मुझे वहाँ भी ऐड कर सकते हैं, everyone. So thank you so much. It was an honor to address all of you, and that brings me to the end of this particular FTP. So thank you so much, everyone. It was an honor.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Now, due to time constraint, I will skip the question answers. So I will now I request Priya ma'am to propose vote of thanks.
Okay. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yeah,
Yes,
ma'am, you're
yes,
on.
sure.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Good morning to all honorable dignitaries and valuable guests. It's my big privilege to propose a vote of thanks on the behalf of Shantarambhau Gholap Arts Science and Gotirambhau Pawar Commerce College. First, I want to express my gratitude to our Honorable President Pawar Sahib for delivering the presidential speech and being our backbone in our all endeavor and constantly motivating and inspiring us. Very warm thanks to our Honorable Secretary Harad sir for giving excellent wishes. And I want to express my special gratitude to our Honorable Chief Guest, Mr. Siddharth Rajhan sir, who gave a wonderful keynote speech. Your thoughts enlightens our mind and your words shown us a path. And yes, today we had a great opportunity. We had got a great opportunity to hear your thoughts. It will truly help us and our student also. And yes, sir, we will create our case studies, and we know that it will definitely help us internationally. I heartily thanks to our college principal, Dr. S.M. Patil sir, Vice Principal, Dr. G.R. Vise ma'am, for being a catalyst and stimulated us to do our best. I extend my thanks to convener of this international conference and host of this session, Mrs. Vandana Singh, ma'am. She has constantly taken many efforts to make this conference successful. A special thanks to Aniket Marathe sir to give the introduction of this session. And last, special thanks to all the participants and best of luck for their presentation. Over to Vandana Singh, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. You can, if you want, you can leave the meeting.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you, Vandana.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you so
I
much,
will
everyone.
contact you. Okay.
And if you have questions, you can drop it with Vandana, ma'am. So
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
answer it on WhatsApp later.
Yeah, sure.
Thank
Sure,
you so
sure.
much, everyone.
I will
Thank
be
you.
in contact. Okay, sir. Thank you. Now I request Pawan Roti sir to take the charge for next session.
Okay, ma'am. I am audible. Can I expect some confirmation?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, you are
Okay.
audible.
Good morning to one and all. Respected trustees, Mr. G.P. Pawar sir and Mr. B.R. Harad sir, Principal Dr. S.M. Patil sir, Vice Principal G.R. Vishe ma'am, present dignitaries, all my colleague professor, participants, and my dear students. I, Pawan Rote, faculty of BMS department, welcomes you all to the second session of Multidisciplinary International E-Commerce on e-conference on transforming, refinancing, and innovations for the excellence of higher education. Today, this task of introducing our guest of honor and speaker is a great privilege. I know this one is difficult, but thought that she is woman of virtue and simplicity. I feel elated to introduce Dr. Piyali Ghosh to every one of you. After all, she is a living inspiration to every one of us. As John Quincy Adams quoted, if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, then you are a leader. As a true leader, Dr. Piyali Ghosh proved herself in academics as well as in social life. She is PhD and MA in education with more than 20 years of experience. She is currently working as assistant teacher in English at Baidyanath Institution for Girls for last 10 years. She worked as Indira Gandhi National Open University faculty in many colleges. She is a member of curriculum committee in Indira Gandhi Open University and Netaji Subhash Open University. She was actively involved in more than 10 UGC sponsored seminars based on modern education trends, and she had published papers in more than 5 journals. She also edited many books which belongs to education and development. We are fortunate enough to have her as our chief guest today. I would like to welcome her again, and I request her to address the participants. Over to Dr. Piyali Ghosh ma'am.
Good morning and thank you, sir. I just want to make a clarification, sir. Currently, I am in college. I am in Savitri Girls College as assistant professor and under Calcutta University.
Okay, but in your profile, I got that is working as a assistant teacher in English at Baidyanath Institute.
No, sir, right now, for last 5 years, I have joined. Anyway, sir, we are teachers, so it hardly makes any difference.
Okay.
Good morning to one and all present here today. We have assembled here in this e-conference titled Multidisciplinary, Institutional and Transforming and Redefining and Innovation for the Excellence of Higher Education, organized by JSM College, Shule. First, I would like to express my thanks to respected Principal Dr. S.M. Patel, Vice Principal Dr. Vijay, Convener Professor Vandana Singh, and the entire academic fraternity for providing me such a platform to share my views regarding a vital and very contemporary issue. Let me share. Just give me a few minutes to go for my presentation. Thank you for giving me the time. Actually, the future of India would lie largely on the abilities of the educated people for the global market. Okay, where the industry-based economy is now shifting to the knowledge-based industry. And that is only possible with the cooperation and with the help of technology. And that will permit the educated people, that is human resource, who will be leaving the arena of education and entering to the entrepreneurship. In this reference, the international cooperation and the action to find solutions for the problems, those who are having the global dimensions. For example, we very recently we have come across the pandemic, and where we can see that there is a shift of paradigm. Actually, before this, we never have thought of this kind of e-conference or e-learning. Now it has opened the new vista for knowledge and new way to address the whole world with the help of communication and the technology. And for that, what we need is a kind of change system. Total educational system has changed. Here, I think this redefining education, when we are talking of redefining education, that things should be taken into consideration, that a kind of rapid development, because you can see if you go back for like last 2 years, you can see how the world has changed. Now I am in Bengal and you are in different parts of India, and we are just communicating. We are here to address each other, share with each other's view. So this is only possible with this communication through internet. So technology is the keynote that we should taken into consideration for the progress of education system. And for that we need to change the entire scenario of higher education for the entire world, as the values, as the knowledge, and the globalization, which is the current term that we are much more concerned. It's not that restricted to our area, our locality, or our nation. It's a kind of global view that we need now. What we have to accept is that it's a kind of global economy that can be contributed by people who are passing out or who are the products. Now we say that it's not the student, it's the human resource. We need a ready product. As I mentioned, knowledge-based industry. Knowledge-based industry is only possible when we acquire skill and knowledge together, right? And for this globalization, I must quote from Tagore. You all know he is not only a great poet or Nobel laureate, he was a great thinker of education. So Tagore, what he said in his concept of globalization is, when knowledge is free from all the shackles, all the limitations, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls. So we can easily understand when he was in 1901, he established Vishwabharati in Shantiniketan. Here he had that concept in his mind. He was not an idealist thinker. He actually, pragmatically, he established the Vishwabharati University, where he talked about skill development and knowledge and the international fraternity, which is the mostly the cry of the time now. But he was such a person that he had got such a big foresight that he can predict what would happen globally for another 100 or 200 years ahead. So he managed to establish that in practice. So we should consider his thought of globalization. And before that, if we just go through the core mission of higher education, if we consider what is the target for recent, the field of higher education is, we can say that it is an essential investment in human capital to economic growth. Human capital. So the products are going out. The students who are after completion of their higher education, they will become the manpower, the skilled manpower, marketable products, okay, with skill and knowledge, excellently equipped for employment in competitive market, job market. It's very competitive, and it's, as I said, it's not restricted to any narrow domestic wall. So we have to think the global village. Now the globalization has shrunk the world into a global village, and there is a need of such kind of higher education that will be meaningful to meet the new challenges. So those who are going out, they should not have the bookish knowledge only. They must have some information and skill and techno-driven knowledge, so that they can serve in this techno-based society. So we need new curriculum reflecting the novel content and the required, the exam change in the examination system, and that there should be a design, radically changed design for the arena of higher education. And for that, as I said, during COVID time, we had come across many terms. Before that, we had only distance education, or physical education and distance education. Now the new terms are coming in, offline or online. So online is very in now. We know even the other speaker, he was addressing the new concept that even anywhere you are in, you can communicate with different internet-based things. Even in case of education, we see the same thing. We are connected. Even we don't have to go. We can pursue different degrees at a time. Universities are flexible. They are providing the learners. It's totally learner-centered. The shift is on the learner. It's totally learner-centered. And the learners are learning at their own interest, own pace, which is very important. So we have a distinct division, offline and online. So these two modes are going together, and now the new standards are redefined on this field. So we have to know what is exactly going on the basis of interactive learning, integration of technology into education, which is very important. So education should be contemporary and multidisciplinary. The approach should be multidisciplinary. It's not that I will watertight. I'm doing my science, so science hi humko padhna hai. No, not like that. You can take physics as well as you can take literature or any other subject. You can take liberal arts as your subject. So you are free. If you have your passion and your knowledge, you can mix them together and you can become a very finished product for the market, job market. And next, before going to that, we have another thing I would like to highlight, that the motto of higher education is to train, to educate. Training is very important. It's not that the bookish knowledge, as I said, you have to have hand-on training to provide community service. So community service is very important. Why are we studying? It's not that only for ourselves. Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. To educate and to provide some community service. It's not that we are studying for ourselves only. We are studying to serve the society as a whole. So these are very important aspects or the words that I used, that is there for our innovation and for our transformation of the education system from the book to the work field. We have to give importance to the work field, and must be all the things that we have learned, we must reinforce them for further expansion practically. It's not that whatever we have learned finished. No, whatever we have learned, our knowledge should be applied practically in the field of job market, so that there should not be any stagnation. All sorts of jobs should be provided to the right human resource, the right candidate. So that should be the target. And before going to the other slide, I would like to mention here, if we look into the mission and vision of the universities, we will understand that there are certain keywords which are common. I have chosen two universities from India, Mumbai University and Calcutta University, and one is from outside, that is Oxford University. So I would like to quote that the vision of Mumbai University is connection for higher qualities and inclusive qualities, consciousness with deep conviction that knowledge is not only to improve the quality of life, but it should lead to build the character, to capitalize on our interest. Capitalization is very important. Capitaling our inherent interests, that is passion or the power, inherent power, which Vivekananda said, Swami Vivekananda, if we remember, education is the manifestation of perfection already in man. So this is the perfection, the inner power that can be enlightened with the help of proper education. So it can help for nation building things. That is the motto of our education system. And for that, we have to give importance for creativity, nurturing creativity, research, and innovation in the field of education. For the University of Calcutta, we can say it's to promote, exchange innovative ideas across the disciplines. So multidisciplinary concept is also here through effective use of technology. So we cannot leave the technology here apart, and the teaching, learning methods should be technology oriented, up to date, and this well-established resource persons should be there to collaborate with renowned universities of in and outside India. That is the institutional collaboration, which is the cry of the time. As we are living in the global world, we cannot think narrowly for our locality or for our state or for our nation. We have to consider the international job field, international market demands. So that should be our motto and vision. And finally, I would like to refer to Oxford University. where they are telling to create the highest quality academic and education resources and services to make them available across the world. So everybody, with the help of technology, you are anywhere in the part of globe, you can access the quality education from there. It shares uncompromising standard, but the standard should be same. Whether you are online or offline, the standard should be same, and the belief in transformative power of education and research to inspire progress of the human society or human potential at large. So this is the cry of the time and the basic understanding of globalization. That is, people are getting opportunity to meet international standard and to supply the manpower according to the international demand to cooperate in the international working atmosphere, which is very, very important. So you can see here that we are transforming, as I say, from bookish knowledge to skilled, marketable manpower that is required actually in the job market. Now, before shifting, I should try to look back the International Commission, Delors Commission, what they said about the 4 pillars of education UNESCO report. 1993, the International Commission was appointed and the report was published in 1996, and you can see the learning, the treasure within. So whatever we are learning, we are just accumulating our skill and enlightening our inner power to get the best out of us. So the manpower should be made. It's not that we are forcing someone, you have to do that. No, it's a diversified field, and the concerned person is able to choose the right option for the career, and that treasure within will be the most successful one to serve the global market of job. Now, the 4 pillars, we all know that learning to know. Learning to know is the basic one, then learning to do, then learning to be, and finally learning to live together. These are the 4 pillars of this Delors Commission report, and now we will be going in detail of this learning to know. Learning to know is a very important, and the first pillar, as I said, which actually says the importance of knowledge. We all know that we are now creating the knowledge society. So which impart to gain various knowledge of the world. We have to collect the knowledge of the world, otherwise we won't be able to get the information. Information getting and processing is very important nowadays. Now, in view of Delors Commission, the more knowledge we possess, the better can we understand the different aspects of our environment. And now, you know, this is the goal of the UNESCO or UN, that we have to go for sustainable development. So education should not be the only development of the person. It should be all round. As I said, the social service will remain incomplete or half if we are not concerned about the environment. We all know environment problem, pollution level is increasing, some of them are man-made. If we are properly knowledgeable, we can stop this hazards in the environment in a proper and knowledgeable manner. Now, learning to know involves the development of knowledge. Knowledge development means we are taking inputs from different sources, and these knowledges will just develop the whatever skills we have, knowledges we are having, and it will just get multiplied with different knowledge from different sources, which is very, very important. Now, people have to learn to understand the world by them, combining a sufficiently broad general knowledge. So broad general knowledge is required. This is very required field with opportunity to work in depth on a small number of subjects. Here comes the concept of valley knowledge. Valley sort of, our knowledge should be like a valley. We all know valley, it is having depth in particular point, but the other one is some level, maintaining some level. So we need to have a valley. The plain level is a kind of general knowledge, and the depth, that is research. We have to know some subjects in depth. because they will provide us expertise in that specific area, so that we contribute our research, our results, our findings for the sake of mankind. Now, learning to know how it helps the individual. Learn to know, definitely it will encourage for learning, acquire a test for learning throughout the life. So lifelong education, it's a cry for that. Education is not that limited to certain period. It should go on throughout our life. And as we are going through the lifelong education, as a result, our critical thinking will develop. We will not believe in all this, superstitions and wrong knowledges. So we need to learn, unlearn, and relearn. So learning is very important, and it gives us the tools to understand the entire world. So basic knowledge, acquiring the basic knowledge is very important throughout our life as an individual, to serve the society, to know the world. Repeatedly, I'm telling, since we are sitting in the global village, so we have to think the world as our home. It describes putting knowledge. This is the next pillar, that is learning to do. I am coming to that. Very important. Now it's the contemporary time. It's a cry of the time. That skill, learning to do, is the skill development. Life skill, professional skill, personal qualities, aptitude, interests, all comes under this learning to do. It describes putting knowledge and learning into practice. Practice how it is possible. Innovate. We should be innovative through this skill development. We should innovate different ways. Even when it was a lockdown, I have come across many videos in YouTube where the teachers trying to find the different paths, how to reach to the students. That time they were just planning with simple tools at home, that yes, the students are at home, how simply, how easily we can reach to the students. So that was the innovative thoughts. And the skills that we gradually developed by this 2 years, we have developed, like for example, this Google Meet, we hardly used, right? Before this pandemic, we hardly used this device, these platforms for sharing our knowledge and for engaging in this academic addresses and all this. But now we have developed the skill and competence, as well as we have developed certain life skills. Life skills will guide us how to lead your life in a productive manner, as well as personal qualities. So some personal qualities that an aptitude, if we nurture them, then we can have more positive attitude to develop our skills. So these qualities should be taken into consideration for the all-round development of the stakeholder, just like student. Learning to do also involves the acquisition of skill. First one was just acquisition of knowledge. Now it comes the acquisition of skill, which is often linked to occupational success. So, for example, we all know that for example, I have done my master's in English and education, so I know the subject, but how to teach? This skills is taught in the B.Ed, in the M.Ed. So how to teach is different. I know the subject, this is my knowledge. For example, I have done my master's in English, so I know the subject. But I did not know how to deliver it skillfully to the students. How to make a lesson plan. This is the skill which is taught in this B.Ed course. So B.Ed course is, you can easily relate that this skill development is this kind of things which is taught in the B.Ed syllabus, and this master's degree in language or in education or in English, that gives you the idea of the content, the knowledge of the content. These are the basic differences, and automatically when I would like to be a teacher, if my occupation is teaching, and if I am having a professional degree of B.Ed, I will be able in a much better way to deliver my lecture, to handle my students in a better manner. So this is the difference. Now, this is the importance, development of social behavior, aptitude for teamwork, aptitude for teamwork, we all know that we have to collaborate as we are in the academic fraternity. So we have to share with each other, not only with our co-teachers, but also with our students. And like risk-taking initiative and readiness. We are ready. Even we can
Hello.
आई थिंक उनका कनेक्शन लॉस्ट हुआ है।
हाँ या यस।
ठीक है, उनको कॉल करते हैं। आई थिंक उनका नेटवर्क प्रॉब्लम है, और थोड़ा सा देखते हैं।
कॉल कनेक्ट हुआ ना?
मैम से एक बार फोन पे बात कीजिए मैम।
म्यूट है मैम, मैम आपका माइक।
हाँ, मैंने फोन पे बात किया है, उन्होंने लेफ्ट किया है, वापस से ज्वाइन करेंगे वो।
ओके ओके ओके,
हाँ
हो जाएगा, थोड़ा नेटवर्क का इशू रहेगा।
हाँ हाँ।
I am extremely sorry for the glitch. Sorry, I can't share the. Anything is going on. Hello?
Yes,
Am
ma'am.
I
You can
audible?
continue with your
Yes,
session.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, actually, sorry. I just right now I can't share my PPTs as somehow I got disconnected and my laptop.
No issue, ma'am. You can continue with your session.
Yes, yes. Thank you.
Okay.
So this requires the occupational skill and the personality development is
Ma'am,
depends
your
on.
camera is off.
Hello, is it audible? Is it clear? My
Yeah, your
voice?
voice is audible, but your camera is off.
Pardon, ma'am?
Your camera is not, means it is off.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Just wait. Just I'm going to go on my video, right? There is some net issue, I think. Hello, is it okay now? Okay, thank you. Thank you for bearing me. Yes.
Okay, ma'am. You can
So,
start.
yes, thank you for giving me this time. Now, learning to live together, which is very important and which is the cry of the time. Learning to live together means living in peace and harmony in a very holistic manner, and that can only be done through the lifelong process. Through internalization and practice of this living peace things. Okay. And learning to live together is a kind of development of social skill. When we develop our social skills, only then it is possible to live together, and some social values as well as respect and concern for the others who are part and parcel of the society. So interpersonal skill and social skills are also important here to appreciate. Actually, we can understand it best. We all know that there is a huge, the slogan, it's the fact about India that we are living in diversity, but we are living in unity. So unity in diversity. This concept has taken by UNESCO, that is learning to live together. We are living together. We consider ourselves being Indian. Might be our culture, our language, our food habits. We are having different, kind of diversities, but still we are having this kind of feeling of unification. So this interpersonal skills and respect and values for others, which is the fourth skill of UNESCO proposed the commission report. Now, the importance of learning to live together, first thing comes the democratic attitude, which is, very important. The democratic attitude of the people that you have your right to express yourself. That is only possible when you have the proper respect and you have the proper knowledge and life skill to live in this unified and diverse society. Then comes the development of unity, and then the universal brotherhood. This internationalism is very, very important, and we have to consider. But before going to internationalism, we have to think our nationalism. We should feel pride and respect for our country, and we should not, think diminishing way for the international respect. We should have a respect for others. We should not fight. Our might is not fighting to capture the lands of the other countries, but we just show our intellect, our hospitality to win the hearts of the international field. So that is the development of kind of living together concept. And then comes patience. As I said, we have the Panchshil concept or Panchshil Niti, which means we will not attack to any country outside us at any point. So this is the next point, that is development of patience. So we are having our patience, tolerance to accept the diversity within the country as well as outside the country. And this creates a kind of social bonding. In the global village, social bonding is not restricted within the country or within the locality. It will be to the different parts of the world. We are having the brotherhood under the globe. We all are the human community. That is our only identity. So learning to be is the other pillar, which means yourself, which is very important. The perfection that is already you are having. So this perfection is only possible when you know yourself, your personal development, that is the combination of your body, mind and spirit, and your creativity. Your creativity will develop only when your body, mind and spirit are working together. And that helps you to discover your personal likings, dislikings, your appreciation of the inherent values that you are having. Okay, so you have to know yourself. Knowing yourself is much more important than knowing others. When I know my, weakness, my strong point, my positive values, my negative values, my passion, my interest, my attitude, I will be able to communicate. As I said, the social skill will be much more improved. Interpersonal skills and social skills depends on the learning to be. That means you must know yourself. Apne aap ko jano. That is the whole thing a person should need to fulfill or to reach the highest potential. Okay. So when you know yourself, you can think, you can decide, and you can act independently. So all sources of creativity, innovation and entrepreneurship, which we are talking about for the excellence of higher education, is only possible when you can flourish yourself. Then if you know your creativity, we will be definitely engaged to innovate something new, and that will give you proper scope for showing your right skill and entrepreneurship skill. So which is very important. So firstly, when I'm talking of learning to be, the important thing is your physical development. If you are not physically fit, you won't be able to be mentally fit. So firstly is physical development, then is your mental development. And with mental development, we all know it is related to emotional development, which is very, very important, emotional development. Then comes social development. So when I am sound mentally, physically and emotionally, definitely my social development will be increased. Then comes the development of democratic attitude. Democratic attitude means we are thinking of the country, we are thinking to show respect to the constitution of our country, which is also very important as an educated person. And in the long run, it will help for adjusting the surroundings, which is also important. Then comes the vocational skill, because I have to be a productive human being when I try to serve my society, when I try to serve my nation. So my vocational skill will be very, very important. And then comes the development of values. So value system should be developed, and value means not only the narrowed value system of this my country, my attitude or anything else. It should be like for the whole nation, whole human race. We should consider, we should give respect and proper value. Then comes the spiritual development. My mind will be developed, and in this process, nationalism and internationalism will come definitely. And that will be giving us the power of tolerance, which is very much required. Now I would like to go back to the history of higher education in India. If we consider that the first education commission, higher education commission, immediately after independence is Radhakrishnan Commission or University Education Commission. It was established in 1948-49. During that time, first time the Indian, they thought about their education. After Wood's dispatch, if we go back to history, this is the first education policy that is taken into consideration. And so this is the landmark decision by the then government to plan for the future generation, for the newborn nation, how the higher education should run. And there we see that there are, I cannot show the slides that I made, but it is a kind of policy making. And the regulation, constitution, if we look into the constitution of higher education in India, we can see the quality of higher education is assessed by different agencies. Now it comes the autonomy and the quality. So for that quality assurance in higher education, we need some assessing agencies, and the government of India has some assessing agencies. For example, NAAC, we all know, National Assessment and Accreditation Council, and National Board of Accreditation for Technical Education. This is for general education, and overall it's set by UGC. Okay, we all know the presence of UGC. Many times we come across the rules and regulations to run our college by the rules and regulations of UGC. So we all know. Now the next landmark policy of education, NEP 1986, which was which also talked about the higher education, and it gave the concept of open and distance education, lifelong education, the things we are recently talking about, and it's part, we cannot keep them aside. These are the continuous processes. It started in 1986, but there are certain points that was not included in 1986 policy. That was I think the employability skill, it was there, but still it was not implemented in that way, and the research skill, which was there, but due to some issues, that was not practically implemented exhaustively. Okay, but that is the demand of the time, and as output, like in NEP of 2020, I will talk to it later. It has given education to multidisciplinary approach and research, even at the UG level, both UG and PG level. So this is a kind of new approach, and for this we have to consider the quality assurance. Okay, quality assurance when it comes for this accreditation, autonomy. Now it's a cry of the time. We are talking about the college's autonomy, not only the university, even autonomy in the college. These are the innovative steps that we are going to take. But we have to redefine and we have to transform. There is kind of transforming and paradigm shift in the higher education department. For higher education level, for example, what is quality assurance? If we consider that quality assurance, it is very important aspect, since we are talking of autonomy. So when it is autonomy, so quality should be maintained in higher education. So quality assessment can be determined with certain parameters. The certain parameters are placed to determine that, and it is, what is quality assessment? It is a planned and systematic review of the process, not only for an institution, it is for also the course. Suppose some new courses are launched. So the accreditation body should be taken into consideration the quality assurance of the particular course as well as the particular institution. So that should be taken into consideration. And there are 3 levels of quality assurance in higher education. Firstly, institutional. First, we have to consider the quality assurance system of the institution. We all know we have to face the NAC things. They gave us the leveling A plus B, like that. So these are the quality assurance in the institutional level. Then comes the national level, where the ministries and specialized agencies who are there to assess the quality and the accreditation at the national level. And finally, as we are talking about the total world, then definitely we cannot ignore the point of international level. So in the international level, INQAHE, AENQA, CE, NET, so different agencies are there to take into consideration for international level. As you know, right now for the medical entrance and all, if someone is taking the medical degree from outside, there in India, there will be a common exit test, so that they will be whether their degree or they are able or not, that quality will be assessed through this test. So these are all the accreditation or quality assurance bodies. Now comes the accreditation point, the other point, which is 3-layered, I must say, which is the regulatory bodies of Indian higher education. If we see that, there are 3 wings. Okay. Firstly, policy making, then regulation making, then accreditation. So under policy making, it's directly Ministry of Human Resource, and they develop different policies like National Policy of Education 1968, 1986, 2019 and 2020. Then the Association of Indian Universities, Central Advisory Bodies of Education, then State Councils for Higher Education. These are mostly policy making bodies. First we have to make policy, and then we are coming to regulation part. So regulation part, firstly comes UGC or University Grant Commission. For technical education, it is AICTE, MCI, PCI, DECI, BCI, NCTE. We all know some of them are for technical education, some of them are for teacher education, and so many things. And then comes ICAR, ICMR. These are for medical, assessment bodies, regulatory bodies. ICSSR, ICPR. So all this, and the other one is at the state level. It's state regulatory bodies. Then comes the accreditation part. So first policy making, then regulation, then comes accreditation part. Ma'am, should I join from there because it's ready, or I should continue like that with your permission?
Sorry?
Ma'am, should I continue without showing, or I will go for the slideshow? What is your suggestion?
You can continue, but make it fast because we are running late for the next session.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we see this, the quantity of universities or colleges as per Aisha report 2018 to 19, it's increasing. Increasing means it's a rapid growth, and it's a positive aspect in the higher education, and the colleges as well. They are universities and colleges, according to this Aisha report, they are increasing in number in India since 1952 2019 report. Now I would like to focus on the new education policy, which is the the futuristic look that our country is going to face in the recent times. It is having 4 pillars. Our education policy 2020 is having 4 pillars. First one is affordability. Second one is accessibility. Third one is quality. Then equity and accountability. These are the 5 pillars to ensure the continual learning, which is lifelong learning, as it is said by Delors Commission. Our Education Policy 2020 is referring the same point for continuing education. And it is crafted consistently with the needs of the citizen. As a demand for knowledge society, we know we are being the part of the knowledge society. So whatever will be the target of new education policy, it should be for the satisfaction and demand of the society for the economic growth, that is acquiring skills and knowledge in regular basis. Okay, thus it is trying to provide quality education, creating lifelong learning opportunities, and productive sustainable development to meet the productive sustainable development goal of UN 2030. We all know that sustainable development is the first area of national education policy of 2020. It forms the comprehensive view for the higher education for both, elementary level as well as high level, and India should higher education level, and India has targeted to reach the goal by 2040. And there is much emphasis on multidisciplinary approach, communication in both written and verbal communication, digital literacy, then problem solving, logical reasoning, and vocational exposure. That should be the long vista for higher education, and the skills should be developed for this purpose. And one most important, and which is the cry of the time, is cyber security. Now we all are exposed to the cyber world for learning purposes or many different purposes. It has become part and parcel of our daily life. So cyber security is very, very important part in our life. So that should be included in the higher education. And for this cyberspace, and due to pandemic, it has shifted and it has got the most important part. And we should know how to protect privacy and security of the individual, which is very, very important. And it's also important and pertinent that capacity building for cyber security resilience, which is given the prime importance in this curriculum of New Education Policy 2020. And research and innovation, all this we are doing. Action research, we all know. Actually, every day we are doing the action research. And this kind of research, scientific bent of mind, which is appreciated in the higher education system. And that is very, strong commitment and close intervention that is required with academic and, industrial field as well. So this skill development for cyberspace, as well as here comes the another important thing, that is intellectual property right, which is also very important. So that should be also taken into consideration. Now comes almost I have come to the last part of my discussion. That is some of the areas that is of NEP, which is transformation of narrow domain. We have to think of the multidisciplinary autonomous degree awarding institution. So it should be a broad one. So students can select their choice according to their talents, their interests. Then comes the elimination of commercialization of education. So education should not be commercialized. It should be service oriented, not profit oriented. That should be taken into consideration. And then comes the, there should be public and private entrepreneurship together. So there is a transformation. It's not only restricted to the government entrepreneurship. The private colleges will come up and they will also take in charge of that. And the appointment definitely should be merit-based. So they are the head of the institution, and the researchers, the innovators should be given chance according to their merits. And accountability on decision makers should be very important. The decision makers should not be fake, institutions should not be fake. They should be set up to promote the top position. Okay, that should be the target. And then the social responsibility, both for private and public, and the active role of private universities in this social responsibility, social service joinings, and that should be, they should motivate the students as well as the staff to join hand in the social activities. And commitment, which is very important. The higher education should be committed. People should be, those who are involved in the higher education, they should be committed to that. Now comes the SWOT analysis, which is very, very important, because we must know our strength, our weakness, our opportunity, and our threat. So when it is coming about strength, we must say the active participation of government should have taken should take the initiative, active initiative to help to spread the education even at the higher level, higher education. Then internationally recognized education programs and specialization courses, and that is already there. Okay, IIMs, IITs, IISC, so all the Tata, all are there to provide this international level standards. And then comes the the MOVE, some of the MOVEs we are having with different international universities, and the PhD awards publications across the globe, across the world, and that should be initiated, and that should be much more encouraged. We are encouraging. So these are our strength or strong points. And the quality of social change that is possible through higher education, we should take into consideration also that. Now comes the weakness that we are having, we are suffering, is inappropriate funds. Sometimes we lack fund, or we lack some faculty development programs, and overlapping functions of UGC, AICT, so all accreditation committees and regulatory bodies, they're over taxed with their operation, overlapping functions. And the autonomy of the universities, to increase the accountability, the autonomy should be taken into consideration, even for the deemed universities. And there are certain lacks in the development process in the higher education. And opportunities is that India is the country of the young people, so we can make many, like 150 million youths are living right now in India, so we can make them as resource for the arena of higher education. And this digital learning and digital tools, already we are assisting with all this in the higher education level. And equal opportunities, collaborations not only with other universities in and outside the country, but also industrial collaboration with education, linking national and international and industrial collaboration, that will create a much more opportunity for investment, right? But the threat is there again, also we have to take in the consideration for the threats, and that is the attitude problem of the stakeholders, moreover the inadequate funding and the loopholes. The main thing is loopholes in the research and the inappropriate distribution of the funds. So that should be taken into consideration. And lack of academic audit, which is very important, because without academic audit, we cannot progress our things. So these are all we are having challenges, and I hope we will be able to face these odds and challenges, and ultimately the higher education of India will excel, and we will have skilled manpower, a huge number of skilled manpower we can supply to the global market for cherishing our goal and reaching our goal. Thank you so much for your patient hearing. Thank you. And again, sorry for the interruption. Thank you all.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, madam. Now I request Pawan Roti sir to propose vote of thanks.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, ma'am. I would like to extend my sincere thanks to Dr. P.R.E. Ghosh for sharing valuable insights with us. You have very well said one should apply knowledge to everywhere to build character. You have shared the ideas of Mumbai, Kolkata, and Oxford University, and also given example of Swami Vivekananda, a man for making India proud. I am sure your valuable journey of knowledge will be beneficial to many. If you want to leave the meeting, ma'am, you can leave it. Thanks for giving us your precious time. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you so much. Thank you. Thank you all.
Now I request to
Thank you.
Mr. Verma sir to take the charge of further conference.
Thank you, sir.
One minute. I have
Yes.
created two list of paper presentation. So one will be handled by Verma sir and the other will be handled by Seema madam. And I have also shared the link of that on that list. So in the second list, there is a separate link. So I request all the participants who are going to present over the paper to please disconnect from here and join that meeting. And rest of the list, means rest of the participant who are going to present their paper can join in. Okay. 1 minute. I think the other link is, wait a minute.
शायद सीमा पाटिल लेफ्ट है उधर में
ऑलरेडी उन्होंने ज्वाइन किया हुआ है दूसरी मीटिंग में. जो सेकंड लिस्ट है उसके पार्टिसिपेंट्स जो है वो सेकंड लिंक ज्वाइन कर सकते हैं. वर्मा सर आप नेम कॉल कीजिए.
Okay. Okay. So we are going to start paper presentation session first. The first, Dr. Ramesh sir, please present your paper. Dr. Ramesh sir. Hello. Okay. Then hello. Mr. Mahesh Nalawade sir and Suresh More sir. More sir.
Good afternoon, all. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You are audible.
Yeah. Can I share my screen?
Yes, sir. Yes. You can.
1 second. Verma sir, chairperson
Yes.
is PV Patil sir. For this session, chairperson is PV Patil sir.
Okay.
Just okay. PV Patil sir
Yes.
is present in the meeting. Okay. Would you like to share something about the rules and regulations? PV Patil sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
How many minutes participants will get?
We have already noted them. About 6 minutes we have given, but the time is, I think it is already 1 o'clock. So please make it short so that we can go lunch on time.
Okay, all participants or paper presenters are requested to be concise and to present their papers within 5 minutes. Okay, 1 extra minute they can use. That will make 6 minutes. Okay, so More sir or Nalawade sir, who is going to present paper?
Yeah, it's me, Patil sir, Mahesh Nalawade sir, speaking from Kinoli College.
Okay.
So can I share my screen?
Yes, sir. You can.
Thank you. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm facing some problem.
So you can start. presentation, sir.
No, is it visible? Can you see my screen?
No, sir. No.
No, sir. No.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Mahesh, sir.
Sir, I'm having problem. Okay, actually the
No problem. You can present your paper without sharing.
No, Lord, sir, present only
ते जात नाही ते मला
present
फक्त दाखव.
only findings. Okay, so that will be.
actually sir, screen sharing is disabled. I'm not sure why it is happening.
No problem, sir. You can present your paper.
So can you excuse me? Just leave the meeting and rejoin. So let's see what is the technical problem.
Okay, no problem, sir. So the next one is Jyoti Tupe. Jyoti Tupe, ma'am. Hello. Tupe, ma'am. Hello. Jyoti, madam. Okay, we should go ahead. Dr. Anand Vijay Kumar Dharmadhikari and
Yes.
Hello.
Jyoti ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, you can present your paper.
Okay, yes, sir.
You can.
Just give me a moment to share my slide, presentation slides.
Okay.
Just a moment. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am.
तिला कलर नाही बघितला ओपन कलर
I hope my screen is visible to all.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Good afternoon to one and all present over here. I, Jyoti, from the D.K. Birla College of Arts, Science and Commerce, Kalyan. University of Mumbai. I am presenting my paper on the topic of online learning. It can be a strong parallel mode of learning method, and for all are due to the pandemic to become aware of the inner source. Online, though the internet comes into education in 1990s.
Hello. Hello, ma'am. Your voice is breaking.
The online learning was done, but this.
Hello. Jyoti, ma'am.
Okay, I hope now. Yeah, I am getting it. I hope now I am properly audible. Am I?
Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes.
Am I audible properly, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Online education, you can say that. Yeah, thank you so much. Go to my topic. As online education is the most, you can say, the positive terms in this depressed environment of pandemic COVID-19. We all, as a teacher, became very much familiar with this. We are aware about the online teaching, but as it comes as a mainstream of teaching in the pandemic, and it's something new and suddenly emerging in the pandemic. It was before pandemic also, in 1990s, when the internet come into an existence, the online learning also progressively start. Online learning is most popular because of what? As we all know that it is 24/7. 24/7, that is for 24 hours, anytime the learner can access the resources, and anytime according to his convenience at a distance place, wherever, no need to go to the study center. And these are the few exciting things about the online learning. But still, about the online learning, we as a teacher and as a learner also come to the main when the okay, when we face all the pandemic. Without learning, as we know that it is a very it is an inexpensive. We can say that because for offline learning, you give your time, you have to be travel, you have to be as focus of teacher is more for this. The fees charges are more comparatively. More fees can be charged, but online, as it is time sensitive, and especially the students who are deprived from education, students who are working, for them this is a good source of learning to continue their education. Online learning is a time saving education, as time on traveling, time on, you can say, you can be used for other purposes also, especially as the students are going to be this is a good that they can work, they can earn there, and they can use education and the mainstream. Online is basically a technology-based education. Okay, everywhere technology must. After your education, when you go for a job searching, you will very preferable when you're good in a technology. So if you want to be well versed in a technology, online platform is a good one. Okay, it is a safe place, or you can say that competition is less over there, less intensity is there. Okay, better time management you can do, and your notes are online available and all the things. Okay, then I am going to head talk about the disadvantages of online learning. That as physical presence is not there, lack of attention, concentration can be there in online learning. health problems can feel you are sharing the laptop and desktops, and because of what happened, eyesight problems and backache problems and other problems can be raised. It is an expensive mode, and other side also we can say, because it requires technology, it requires database. As we know that as a teacher, when our teachers are, our students are not attending the classes, we ask them and they said that madam, database, whatever data used for this is finished, so I was unable to attend the session. So some way somehow it is expensive also. Lack of social contact, the competition, the healthy competition required between the students, learners, that is lack in the online education. Practical skills, something, for example, science subject, some practicals are necessary. Okay, that is not possible in online learning. Isolation feeling can become, depression can become, because you are derived from the mainstream of education. Then poor internet connection, prevention of everything, that there can be a difficulties, or you can call it as a limitation of online resources or online learning process. There are a different mode of online learning: 100% online education. There can be hybrid education, online courses, and the several MOOC courses are available where more than 10,000 people can be joined. So this is a good thing about it, that physical education, when there is an offline mode, there is a limitation to the students to enroll in the classroom, but online 10,000 plus students can be enrolled for one course, especially when we talk about the. So moving ahead about my objective of doing this research paper, that I am quite interested to know the impact of this online education on the student fraternity. Especially I focused on the college going students, how it is going to be help them to sustain in the pandemic period, and how they are thinking about the online education ahead. I also want to know that understanding the opportunities available due to the online education. I want to know, curious to know the problem faced by our students, and analyze, want to go ahead, and I have to be considered whether it can be a future mode of education, mainstream. So in that way, I have done my research, and for that one, I use the primary data as well as secondary data. I have collected the data from 132 respondents of the especially from college-going students and in the state of Maharashtra. Secondary sources are various books, research papers, newspaper articles. Every day, alternate day, we read in a newspaper about the online education, government websites, and all that. Hypothesis is what I have taken two hypotheses. One is there is a no significant levels of progressive impact of online education in students' progression. And other one is there is a considerable chances of online education to be replaced the conventional mode of learning student. Okay, so two possibilities I have taken, positive and negative, and I have worked on that. I have collected a data of sample size of 132 respondents, and I have got response something like this. You can see that I have asked the question about attendance of online classes. So 95% students say that is 126 respondents said that yes, we are attending online classes. But going ahead, if I'm going to be asked that how much percentage of online classes you attended till now, then I got a variation in the answer. Only 45.4% students said that we attended more than 76% to 100% lecture. But then as we know that university norm 75% attendance is required. So more than 50% crowd are going to be attended less than 75%, which is really a cause of concern being a teacher to all of us. Then I asked them question about the which mode of learning you understand more. So students have the mixed reaction for this one. Some may prefer online, some may prefer offline, some may prefer hybrid learning. Then I asked about whether you find any internet network issue. Then there is a 50% say around on an average you can say 50% say yes, 50% say no. So like that, what we can say that network issue problem is definitely there, and this is the criteria, you can say this is the area of we have to be concerned about. Then I also asked a question about whether it can be a regular mode of learning. Then the students say fine, it is yes, okay, can be regular, but more than 50%, less than 50%, 49.6% say no, it cannot be. So students have the two set of mindset about the online learning process, education system. Then I asked them the question about whether it can be future mode of education. Then 67.2% students say yes, it can be a future mode of education. Okay, but moving ahead, if I'm going to be talk about it, I come to know through this questionnaire that students have the mixed reaction. And as I collected the data from the Mumbai and nearby Mumbai students, I came to know that the availability in the cities and nearby cities are different. Whereas when you go to the rural India, definitely the connectivity issues and financial problems are more over there. In my reading and in my studies, I come across with these points. So to sum up the limitation of my studies, I came to know that definitely I have some limitation to study due to the pandemic, and I cannot meet the student personally of various distance places due to the pandemic. But I have collected 132 responses only from the student, and my the research is restricted with the cities only. And to conclude my topic, I can be say over here that yes, online education should be go parallel with the main traditional offline system of education because students love both the system. Both the system have their own advantages and the limitations. Place the main source of learning, that is the offline learning. Both are equally important, but offline learning is more important. As I said that as being a teacher, if you are connected with the student personally, you will be able to
Hello, Jyoti ma'am.
वरना सर कनेक्टिव्हिटी गेली वाटतं होते.
हा ओके. सो पुढे जाऊया आपण. रमेश सॉरी महेश सर, महेश नलावडे सर.
Hello, sir. Oh,
हा, आर यू रेडी सर?
yeah, I will try to share it.
ओके.
Is it visible, sir?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you. So, pardon for the earlier technical glitches. A warm welcome and good afternoon, all the respected colleagues and the paper presenter for this session. Myself, Mahesh Nalaude, and my colleague, Dr. Suresh More. We have analyzed the online education, and the title of our paper for this is Online Education, a Critical Analysis. In this study,
hello, yes,
hello, am I audible? In this study, we focus on the three aspects of online education. Mainly, we discuss here about the resources, the challenges and opportunities of online education. Talking about the starting of the online education in the Indian context, the COVID-19 forced all of us to go from classrooms teaching learning method to the online education. It was an abrupt change or move for all of us. Though we all are not prepared or were not prepared at that time, but since the NEP, New Education Policy 2020, has already has mentioned in its section 24 about the importance of online education. The New Education Policy also talks about our Rashtrapita Mahatma Gandhi's vision of learning or experiential learning. So in sync with that, the online education has certain advantages. When we talk about the online education for the courses, we particularly study the courses which are categorized into two broad disciplines. We have STEM courses, which are science, technology, engineering, mathematics, also the medicine courses and agricultural courses where the experiential learning is important. I'm not saying the experiential learning as such, but the practical aspects are having the more percentage in their study. And the other group is humanities and the social sciences. And we all know that for online education, we require the different approaches for both of these. When we talk about the online education, we have came across a lot of tools and the apps developed, the content availability, the information which is available on the internet, and the open educational resources. So everybody or most of us have the access of these information, tools, apps for the online education, but the challenges are different. And when we talk about the challenges and the opportunities, we need to talk about the digital literacy of the learners as well as educators. In our study, we have selected a few resources, though as I mentioned in earlier slide, there are lots of resources available for online education mode or online teaching learning to facilitate online teaching learning. Here, these few resources we have discussed with our stakeholders, the students and educators, colleagues, and their usefulness in the online education. Some of these are mentioned here. And these are particularly initiatives of Government of India to have their importance in the online education in sync with the new education policy, which we are forecasting to coming in the next few years. Talking about the aspects of online education, why online education and what is need and how it is going to be important in the Indian context or Indian education scenario. When we talk about the accessibility, so online education gives the power to the student, okay, irrespective of the time and place. He can learn anywhere, anytime. Second is the global exposure, where the keynote speaker, Siddhant sir, were talking about the courses. Now we can access courses from Coursera, edX, which can give the global exposure to the learners, and that helps to broaden their perspective and also helps in the expansion of the viewpoint when we have interaction of different learners from different regions or different zones or even from on a global platform. Virtual laboratories for these STEM courses have contributed immensely. Because of the pandemic or the lockdown, the laboratories cannot be accessed, and the courses where practical works are having major part or major chunk in their syllabus, the virtual laboratories gives the access or facilitate the learners about the practical component. I would say not the skill exactly, but the components can be learned and can be practiced many times, because virtual laboratory has advantage that we can repeat those practical skills as and when required and many times also. The fourth important aspect is the use of artificial intelligence and machine learning that particularly helps for the differently able learners in their education. In this paper, we also talk about some of the challenges which came across when we discussed with our students and their reply to these online education. When we have communication on this virtual mode, so face-to-face communication and virtual communication needs different skill for a learner as well as for the educator. The collaboration and the facial expression or the body language understanding is at different level. So this is one of the barrier right now to have online education in place. The second important part is learning of these online pedagogies, or when we talk about online education, the mode shift also needs to address about these pedagogies of online education. The technical skill associated with these online education from the learner side as well as from educator side are needs to be enhanced. The skills needs to be learned, relearn, and we can build on that. So these are the challenges when the students or when our survey data shows. Third, an important challenge we came across, like when we talk about the India as a huge country, we have the different divides like social, economic, and geographic divide. Also, when we talk about the poverty ratio and the accessibility of the latest technology, the internet connectivity, network issues, and all these are having impact on these access of the online education, and that poses a very prominent challenge in front of all us. Then talking about the learning abilities of the learners, when we talk about the learners who learns in pairs, some are the solo learners, some are the some learners can study themselves, they have the access, but most of the learners they learn in pair, in group, and they understand it better. So we need to also consider the learning abilities. The survey also shows that the students who are not practicing the solo learning, they are finding it challenging to learn in this online education when they are sitting in front of a mobile phone or a desktop and learning something. And the most important here we find is the self-motivation for the educator as well as the learners, because unless and until we start changing our habits, or when unless and until we start adapting to these new changes, we can't have the fruitful online education system. Now, going ahead of the time, when we talk about the opportunities which are available or will be available in future for these online education, these usually talk about the novel and pragmatic changes in the traditional education system that we need to think of. And if we can succeed in these things, we think we have the opportunity here. Second important opportunity we see is the strengthening of the linkages between industry, academia, and the government policies. Because online education not only is about teaching and learning, it is about the industry and their contribution as well as the government policy. As new education policy is also focusing on the linkages or the skill-based learning of the students, then the industry can play an enormous role in that scenario, and then the linkages will be fruitful when we talk about the online education. Online education can be a good tool when we talk about the learner-centric approaches, okay? Provided the capacity building of the institution at institutional level, capacity building at the department level, or capacity building for the faculties and the learners can be seen as a potent emerger in these online education system. Right now, all we are sitting here in this international multidisciplinary conference, and we know that we all have those virtual talent available across the globe, can come here and discuss their opinions and views. So here also, when we talk about the opportunities, we talk about the capitalizing of the virtual talent which is available across the globe, and now we can use these talent resources in form of visiting or guest or adjunct faculties and access the latest and the technological advances or the latest knowledge to our learners. The most important is we need to talk about or think about the enabling policies of the government, because the policy on a paper will not help. We need to have the practical approaches and the practical means to take it on a place and bring it to the ground level for the learners and the educators. So this is all about our findings here, talking about online education. The challenges, the resources are there, but we found that there are enormous opportunities in online education. But coming to the context of this online education, India still is not in a position to adopt fully online education, and blended mode of education where we can have offline as well as online mode will help us to grow in a long way. So I'd like to thank you, the organizers, the panel, and my acknowledgements are to my colleagues, our principal and colleagues, and the students who helped me on this research and the findings. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Any question? Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
If participants have any questions, they can ask to Jyoti Madam and Mahesh sir. These two papers are over now, and we are going ahead with third paper. Before that, if anybody has any argument, they can make such argument. Otherwise, Verma sir proceeds.
Okay. Dr. Anand Vijay Kumar Dharmadhikari, sir. Anand sir. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Myself, Dr. Madhu Shukre, and with my colleague, Dr. Anand Dharmadhikari, sir. We are going to now presenting the paper. Sir, over to you. And hello, everyone. Thank you to give us the opportunity. Give us 2 minutes on the please.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Good afternoon to one and all the dignitaries present. Myself, Dr. Anand Dharmadhikari, and my colleague, Dr. Madhu Shukre. Our research topic is India leading on the front of climate change by setting an example of its roots of Vedic Suktas and Shanti mantras. The objective behind this particular paper is that the climate change has been the buzzword which is constantly we are coming across. And that's why this particular paper is trying to explore the concept, what exactly is the climate change. At the same time, our aim is also to see that what is the present status of climate change, and of course, what is the position of India and how India is taking the challenge of climate change in its own stride. At the same time, this paper tried to take us to the days of yoga, that is Vedic literature period, and we try to elicit the important quotes which can support the mission, which can help us to combat the crisis. It also makes us aware of the seriousness of the threat at our own threshold. Normally, we always deal with the word environmental science, but today we find that climate change has been one of the most crucial and one of the major component of the environmental science. India, having a tradition of proactive nature, we have already thought about the climatic perception, climatic change very, very long ago, before we can foresee or we can experience the dangers of the same. Basically, the climate change is nothing but simply the side effects of or the lopsided development that we have. No doubt development is must, development is good, but at the same time, it should not take away the very purpose of existence of our earth and our well-being that we have. It also includes the concept like global warming, the greenhouse gases, ozone depletion, and of course, the exploitation of natural resources beyond the limit. All these changes are basically applicable or attributed to the human activities. Natural reasons are there, but they are at their own place, which we cannot control. But as far as human activities are concerned, which are very much in our own hands, we should use it in the most positive and the proactive way that we have. The reason for all these issues is basically the trucking up of the heat, which can raise the air temperature and especially the ground level temperature. The climate change issue has been addressed way back in the Stockholm Conference, which was held in 1972. Recently, our Prime Minister has also put up his willingness and echoed with all the people that yes, climate change has to be taken at war footing level. This paper is basically based on secondary data, and primary data has not been considered at all. Now, why this topic has been taken or considered for the study? Basically, it's a global crisis. It's no more an issue of you and me or our own district or something. It goes beyond the boundaries of all the countries and it touches all the nations by and large. Today, the global warming has reached to such an extent that it gives a question whether to be or not to be. And if it is not done today, it will never come in future. What we find is our Vedic literatures are so strong and they have studied so many things that today or tomorrow this problem is going to come. We are basically the believer in the concept of prevention is better than the cure. What is unfortunate to find is advanced nations are on the forefront and they are the major contributor to this global warming concept. Developing nations are instrumental to add the burden because we need the development very badly, and in the span of development we are ignoring the environmental climate and its effect. We want development, but that development should not be at the cost of environment and our own existence. And because of that, the sustainability in the real sense is possible only when we go to our your days that we have. We have a great and rich and most invaluable tradition of harmonious existence between the man and the nature. We treat our flora and fauna as a part of our family. And that is why, as per the principle of Mahatma Gandhi, we can say that Earth can provide resources to meet the need of the people. But definitely, there is no need or there is no possibility to satisfy the greed of the people that we have. The concept that we focus to deal with climate change is the driving forces which are responsible for the climate change, the pressure that we are experiencing at the present level, the state and conditions of each and every component of climate change, its aggrieved or serious impact on not only human beings but also the animal and especially the plants and other people. And of course, it's a time to see how we respond, what is our commitment, and how we react to this particular crisis as such. Central Statistical Office, National Statistical Organization, they are all working on that. World Meteorological Organizations, they are also giving signals and symptoms. The basic factors that are responsible for the creation of this issue is the greenhouse gases, the deforestation which is done at a very, very speedy rate, the increase in the land use change which is at very exponential rate that we have, the use of energy and usage that we have and the type of energy which we are using, the pressure from the vehicular transport and all other things that are coming across. The gases which are mainly culprits for the creation of this carbon gas emission is basically carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, hydrofluorocarbon and fluorofluorocarbon and superafloxamide. Now, what are the areas and issues of our concern? And you can see the each and every impact of our life itself is in danger. temperature, rainfall, mountain glaciers, sea level rise, health, agriculture, coastal erosion, loss of biodiversity, and of course stop. This is what is the statistics you find, and you always see in the history that India has always laid its own example without advising others. It's very easy to advise others, but it's very difficult to enact on this. These are all top countries which are there: China, Japan, South Africa, United Kingdom, USA, France, Germany. And you can see the percentage of their contribution and the share that each one of them is having and adding to all this. We are fortunate, and as we should be proud that yes, we are Indians, and that's why we are committed to all these issues. This is the pie chart which is taken from the source of International Energy Agency in 2009 and Planning Commission, which deals with the carbon strategic inclusive growth that we have. And this is what exactly our scriptures have given to us. Om Shanti Riksha Shanti, Antariksha Shanti, Prithvi Shanti, Shanti Rodaya Shanti, Vanaspataya Shanti, Vishwe Deva Shanti, Brahma Shanti, Sarva Shanti, Shanti Reva Shanti, Sama Shanti Redhi, Shanti Shanti. There are various literatures in our Vedic period, like Purusha Suktas, Sri Suktas, and Shanti Mantras. I have not given any detailed explanation of all this, but all these are quoting and giving you only and only one thing, that yes, we have to deal with this particular challenge, not only alone, and we have to take the globe along with us. India can lead the world in the context of climate change with all our treasures that we are having. We can guide the rest of the country that how to go ahead by keeping the balance between the development and the legacy which the nature has given to us. We can transform and share our Vedic literature legacy with the world, which still remains to be unfathomed till the date. The world is in the need of Indian roots, and we are the only people who can give solution for dealing with climate change. It requires ethical issues, it requires values to be nurtured at not only local level, but to go and reach at the global level. We are already on the forefront as emerging power, and we all are proud to be that. But what is important is to follow the Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, a universal approach that we have. I extend my all the thanks and the cooperation to be extended. Our special gratitude to management and our especially best wishes to grateful thanks to my own friend and colleague, that is Vandana Madam. So this is all from our side.
Thank you, sir.
If there is any kind of questions that we have, you are free to ask.
Yes, any question?
Sir, very well presented. It was nice.
Thank you, ma'am. Dhanyavad, and all the best wishes to you. And congratulations.
Thank you so much.
All the gratitude to your management also.
Thank you,
so that
sir.
our college will come with more conferences in coming future. Thank you, ma'am.
So you
Thank you
people
so
have
much.
made this success. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot and all the best.
Thank
Thank
you,
you. Thank you.
Thank you, Anand sir, and thank you, Madhu madam. Okay, now
अभी
we are
और
going
कोई
to
है
take
क्या?
lunch break. है ना मैडम? अभी
कितने लोग हैं अभी?
4 जन हैं.
तो
चार
ऐसा
हैं.
करते हैं, आफ्टर लंच वी विल कंडक्ट. ओके.
Okay.
हाँ.
So please, thank you for the participation and presenting paper.
Can we leave?
I request- Oh man. Yes, sir. Yes. So I request to all, please rejoin after lunch break by 2:30. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Due to some technical glitch, I was out of network.